President, on your call.
Let's
Trenton,
call it,
ready?
Mr. Garcia.
You got it. Trenton City Council regular meeting this April 7th, 2026 is now called to order. Please stand and salute the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been given in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act pursuant to Public Laws 1975, Chapter 231. This agenda is complete to the extent known and was sent to the Trenton Times and the Trentonian newspapers, posted on the first floor bulletin board in City Hall, filed in the City Clerk's office, and posted on the City of Trenton website. Formal action will be taken. Roll call. Councilwoman Edwards.
Present.
Councilwoman Feliciano.
Present.
Councilwoman Frisbee.
Present.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Presente.
Councilman Harrison. Councilwoman Williams.
Present, you presented.
Council President Figueroa Kettenberg.
Present.
It's all for you.
Myself, Brandon Garcia, Municipal Clerk, present. Mr. Edward Kaloji, Legislative Counsel. And Mr. West Bridges did call to inform me that he will be a few minutes late. Thank you. And Madam President, this time, if you'd like, I'll read the invocation.
Yes, sir.
Almighty God, who holds the fate of man and nation, we most humbly beseech thee to bless this our city, these deliberations, and these thy servants, that they may act with wisdom and understanding for the good of our community and thy greater glory. Amen. And Madam President, as I understand, you have a recognition that to be presented this evening.
Yes, sir.
If you want to-
Councilwoman Frisbee. Jorge, do you have the presentation, the recognition?
So good evening, and thank you, Council President. I believe in giving flowers where our flowers are due. We have someone in our community who he and his family have been serving for years. Very humble, have not asked for, doesn't look for accolades, but does give back to the community. So at this time, I wanted to recognize Robert Giaquinto. Did I say it right? Go me. Robert Roberts, and it's Roberts with an S. We're going to get it correct because it is Roberts. Is that correct? Just Robert, you're going to get me again. Okay, so Robert Giaquinto and his wife, Linda, and their family that are here today, and the Giaquinto family, the oldest cobbler serving the city of Trenton and its surrounding community. Whereas the Giaquinto family tirelessly served with excellence and devotion for 2 generations, beginning with Joseph Giaquinto, who not only served our community, but also served our country in the United States Army in World War II. And whereas Joseph Giaquinto began his career in 1945, meticulously repairing and restoring shoes for all who entrusted their wares to him. And whereas his son, Robert Giaquinto, 2nd generation and a Trenton native, continues to honor his father's legacy with dedication and pride, providing quality craftsmanship to our community as one of the last traditional cobblers in the area. And whereas Robert Giaquinto, during his grand reopening in the early 1990s, Whereas Robert Giaquinto, during his grand reopening in the early 1990s, held a homeless shoe drive, donating over 3,000 shoes with the assistance of the Hibbett Group. And whereas Robert Giaquinto has worked faithfully through the pandemic and other challenging times to make sure our community remained prepared without missing a step. And whereas Robert Giaquinto has been a consistent staple for repairs of footwear, leather bags, handbags, jackets, backpacks, and more, Robert Giaquinto has served the needs of the people with honesty and integrity. Robert Giaquinto continues to invest his time and talents in our great city, preserving a tradition of sewing souls and precision stitching. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Trenton, County of Mercer, State of New Jersey, hereby recognizes and honors Mr. Robert Giaquinto for decades of unwavering service to the City of Trenton and Mercer County area. And it is presented this seventh day, April 7th, 2026. It is signed by all of council members, and along with City Council, our mayor has also prepared something. He has not made it here yet, but if he doesn't get it, we will get it to you. And we also have a recognition from our Mercer County Commissioners, also in your honor. And I want to just say this real quick. I went into your shoe repair shop on Warren Street, and what made me decide that we needed to acknowledge him was I looked at his fingers. You know, you can tell a man by a lot of his work. And I'm like, how do you work like that? He had bandages and this and that. I'm like, I would be like, Lord, just let me soak him for a little bit. But he pressed on. So I was so grateful. And I'm gonna tell on you too. So Linda, I want you to know that he was incapacitated for a while, and he was not supposed to be at work. And we happened to be having a conversation. And 3 days after he was not supposed to be in his shop, he went back in, just because he said, I had customers that are counting on me, that they're depending on me. And as much as I respect that, I wanted to make sure that, one, you take care of your health as well. But we just wanted to let you know, we so appreciate you. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate you staying here. And we thank you for serving your community the way that you do. And we honor you on this day. Madam President. I give that to you.
Mr. Giaquinto, thank you so much. If you would like to say a few words, but I would also like for council to have the opportunity to address you. So if you would come up, that would be amazing. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Mr. Giaquinto, thank you so much for all of your service to the City of Trenton. I do have a question for you. Are you giving Councilwoman Frisbee like a discount or free services for this? Because I wish I would have come up with this sooner. I have gone to your shop. I have, gotten some heels fixed because I'm hard on heels. You have served the community for so many decades. And I'm happy that Councilwoman Frisbee thought to bring you to this table to honor you for everything that you've done for the City of Trenton, for staying in Trenton when so many flee, and for just continuing to do what you do. So we really do appreciate you. Again, I am so enthralled that she has done this. The thoughtfulness is something that sometimes is a miss. So thank you so much. I'd love for my council colleagues to have opportunity to say a few words if they'd like.
Council President.
Council Vice President Williams.
Thank you. First, I'd just like to thank my colleague, Councilman Frisbee, for doing this because this is really important. Giving folks flowers in their lifetime while they've been such a part of our city is important. And to me, you are the epitome of small business in Trenton. You are the epitome of commitment to the City of Trenton. And in an age when we live in a society where people just keep ordering things off of Amazon and all these other places, the idea of taking something that's made of leather or made of another piece of material and giving it an extended life to be reused, to be saved. I know you've done that for myself and my family with many items, boots, shoes, my son's first pair of Buster Browns when we tried to stretch it for an extra school year. And I know you've shared, the struggles and how it was tough at times in downtown Trenton, but you put your flag there on South Warren Street and you made it. And you're an example for all of us. So thank you for what you, Mrs. Giaquinto, whatever in the family, what you've done. The history of the store is a great history. If anybody hasn't been to Giaquinto's, please visit. Just have a conversation. You will learn a lot about our downtown. And just God bless going forward. And we hope that you're part of Trenton forever.
Thank you. Thank you. I planned one.
Council President,
Councilwoman Feliciano.
thank you. Good evening, Mr. Giaquinto. Thank you for everything that you and your family has done for our city. You fixed the bag for me, and did it so nicely, right? And you could have. It was like a difficult patch to do, but you made it work, and you couldn't even tell. Like, you'd really have to be like all the way up on the bag to see. But you made it work, and you made it look just as awesome as it was when I had first gotten it. That being said, thank you for your dedication to the city. Thank you for your hard work. Thank you for pressing forward. I do agree with Councilwoman Frisbee, where she said you have to take care of yourself above all. So please, even in doing the work, just be sure to take care of yourself. We want you to be around for a long time to come, and we want you to be in good health as you continue forward. God bless you, and thank you once again.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Edwards.
Thank you. Good evening. It's good to see you here instead of on Warren Street. And it's been such a privilege and an honor to sign this. And I want to say thank you, echoing the sentiments of my colleagues, to Councilwoman Frisbee for thinking of recognizing you, because you've been holding on for so long.
Yes.
I love our conversations. I was so embarrassed one time. I was walking by, I stepped in a crack, and it broke the little rubber piece off the bottom of my heel, and you heard the difference in my footsteps, and you was like, I can fix that for you. I do have 10 pairs I need to bring. But our conversation was so wholesome, and I definitely have missed you on Warren Street. I noticed that you were not there as often, so this explains a lot, but it's good to see you, and well deserved.
Thank you.
Council President?
Yes, Councilwoman Gonzalez.
So I also want to say, most of my colleagues said most of what needs to be said, but we just want to say thank you, because small businesses are the strength of our city, of our community, and you all have stayed here for all of these years, and we just want to say thank you for all of your service that you have provided to us, and thank you to Councilwoman Frisbee for actually thinking of doing this for you. So we look forward to continuing having you in our city.
Thank you.
Would you like to have any words that you'd like to share at this time?
Yeah.
I'm going to speak for him because he's a little choked up, but he's a little reluctant to speak of himself that way. But we are so incredibly proud of him, and he does love the city of Trenton, and he loves what he does. He loves the challenges that he faces with certain repairs. I can see the wheels turning when he's thinking about what he wants to do. And as far as caring for himself, I did make him cut his hours just a little bit after the pandemic. He is open now from 8 to 3 most days, closed on Mondays, because he does need to watch out for his health. And you're right, if you look at his hands, not only are they misshapen and cut and bandages and Band-Aids, and I will never forget the time he called me to ask me if I had any extra rags at home. And it was the day where he had cut himself, and he had ran out of rags and Band-Aids at the shop. So instead of closing and going somewhere and get it taken care of, no, he's going to call me and have me come. So truly dedicated, but he loves what he does, and we cannot thank you enough for honoring him. Thank you.
We thank you guys. And something that Councilwoman Frisbee always says, we like to give our flowers when the flowers can still be delivered and smell. So we, again, thank her for that. At this time, we just would like to do a quick photo, if that's okay, and present you with your certificate. And then thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, we go over to the side. Is that what she? Oh, there. Don't know. Okay. Okay.
Mr. Garcia, as soon as we have quorum back, we can start the meeting again.
Certainly. So now you're gonna wanna, okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay, Mr. Garcia, we can proceed.
Certainly, Madam President. At this time, we have presentations. This evening, our first presentation is Safe Streets for All Community Annual Report.
Yes, please, let's proceed.
And so they know the Safe Streets report will have how long in order to present?
10 minutes.
10 minutes. Understood. And you need, go ahead.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Jen Ferris, and I'm a transportation planner at the Delaware Valley Regional Planning Commission, and I'm co-presenting with Lisa Sarasol from the Planning Department. This presentation will share updates about what the Trenton Safe Streets for All Committee has been working on in 2025, and also share some key highlights from the committee's annual report, which should be available on the website very soon. So to get us started, what is Trenton Safe Streets for All Committee? This group brings together City of Trenton staff from a variety of departments, community members, and county and regional partners to move the Trenton Complete and Green Streets Ordinance forward and make a meaningful impact on traffic safety across the city. And it was established by City Council in 2022, and we launched the committee in January of 2025. So next I'll talk about some guiding principles about what's guiding this committee's work. Our goal is to reach zero traffic deaths, and the safe system approach is this framework that shapes how we get there. It addresses safety at multiple levels. For example, looking at safe speeds, how roadways are designed, post-crash care, behavior, as well as vehicles. And by addressing safety at multiple levels, it gives us more opportunities to prevent crashes and reduce the severity of injuries when crashes do occur. So another way to think about this is it's a series of protective layers within the transportation system. So redundancy creates different layers of protection, and death and serious injury only happen when all of those layers fail. So just contextualizing this in a real world example. So starting with that first layer, if a distracted driver is driving on a roadway, that's a popular bicycling route, but the car is an older model that doesn't have automatic braking, the driver may be speeding and they swerve into a bicycle lane. But because the bike lane is protected with concrete curbs, the biker has minor injuries, but they are not killed or seriously injured. So with these layers of protection, we can improve crash outcomes and prevent injuries. So another key guide for this committee is Trenton's high injury network. 75% of all the killed and serious injury crashes happen on just 16% of the city's streets. And those are the streets that are highlighted in red on your screen and in your packets. So by focusing on these corridors, we're able to offer the greatest opportunity to save lives and prevent serious injuries by focusing those improvements on those streets. And just to note, some of these roads are county owned, and they are very active in this committee and are also developing their own Vision Zero road safety plan. We also know that people traveling outside of cars are especially vulnerable when a crash occurs. Of the 2024 crashes in which someone was killed or seriously injured in Trenton, over 45% of those involve someone walking or biking, while the percentage for the state is about 28%. So they're disproportionately impacted in Trenton compared to New Jersey overall. We also know that a lot of Trenton households, over 30%, do not have access to a vehicle. So a lot of people are already walking and biking. That's their main way of getting around. So really improving safety for everybody, whether they're in or outside of a car, is a critical goal of this group. And I'll pass it over to Lisa.
Good evening, council members. Thank you again for the opportunity to present this information to you about this new committee. As mentioned, I'm Lisa Seriasol. I'm the city's transportation planner in the planning division. I also am handling now the land use administration of the planning and zoning boards. As we mentioned earlier, the ordinance that created this committee also states as a goal to reach a zero in terms of fatalities and serious injuries in traffic crashes. We have mentioned that the county is working with us and that the county does have its own plan that it's working on. But in addition, the state has also established a target zero plan. So we're not alone. In addition, many of the nearby major metropolitan areas, including Philadelphia, New York City, Hoboken, and Jersey City, are also Vision Zero cities. Trenton actually will be recognized in a Complete Streets event coming up later this month for its work in establishing this committee, as well as several of the plans that have been produced in strong collaboration with DVRPC. As we've mentioned, this is our first report, and so as a baseline, it's going to establish an introduction for future years. We discovered things along the way that we weren't expecting in terms of gathering data to complete the benchmarking requirements of the ordinance. But we also found plenty of opportunities to point to things that the city's already doing that are part of this ordinance and the benchmarking as well. Some of the things that we accomplished in this first year are, first of all, establishing the committee and the way it operates, but also to begin a level of communication, as well as to establish some actions. It starts with priorities and then eventually gets to a level of actions that become a plan. One obvious part of our work is demonstrating the infrastructure that's been put in place to improve safety in the city. And that includes ADA ramps, speed humps, sidewalks, improved streets, as well as funding, which we received close to $1 million this year between two grants. One is for planning, the other is for construction. That brings me to where we are. We have made progress, but there's definitely room to improve. Safety is definitely becoming a priority across the departments. We are establishing short, long, and medium-term goals for the creation of an action plan. And we're also working towards improved data for the benchmarking. Some of the data, though, we would like to have better sources, and so that's part of our 2026 project, which is better information about how many pedestrians are walking on these streets, how many bicycles are traveling on these roads, and these, in particular, these high injury network corridors. In addition, what we found out was that some of the data that's collected by some departments is not exactly in the same format as data that's collected in different departments. So we're trying to homogenize that, and that's why we have plenty of work to do. Another part of our projects is to communicate more about what we're doing, and in doing that, we need to reach out more, and that's where you can also help us. So better data, some clarification on the ordinance and some of its terms, and more implementation and coordination, both in the community as well as internally with the staff internally. And finally, if you're wondering how you might be able to help us, we know that there are various ward meetings where we could present this in an executive summary format to your ward meetings. We ask you to think about traffic safety and prioritize it in everything that you're doing. You're certainly welcome to partner with the community, and I can mention that Councilwoman Williams is our designee, and definitely to support us when we apply for grant applications. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. I have a couple of quick questions, and I'm sure my colleagues probably have some as well. When you talk about clarifying the ordinance language, do we have something drafted? Where are we at with that? When do we think we'll be presenting a new ordinance with new language that we need to clarify?
We're still working on that. We do not have anything ready to bring to you just yet, but we will be working on that with the committee and expect to, we meet 6 times a year, so our next meeting will be May and then July. So I would imagine in the course of the next 3 to 4 months, we'll be back with some requests to clarify some of that language.
Okay. And I know that jurisdiction lines are sometimes blurred, especially in the city, between county roads, state roads, city roads, who owns what and who's responsible for what. I didn't hear any main mention of 129 and the intersections at Cass, Layler, and Hamilton Avenue. Does any of that play into the Safe Streets framework?
It's certainly on the high injury network. It is a state road. We do know that the State Department of Transportation does have various plans in different stages of implementation. One of them was a signalization technology that was the first of its kind, I believe, in the country, that they installed last year. But there's a lot more to that improvement of that corridor. I know firsthand because I was part of the study that wrote the original safety audit on that corridor back in 2019. So, yeah.
I remember doing a presentation with folks at South Village about the signalization program with Mr. Santora a couple of years ago. So since it's been implemented, and I'll just make this brief, but since it's been implemented, what are our statistics looking like from prior to after the implementation of the signaling?
I have not seen any data specifically, but to the best of my knowledge, it has been an improvement, and I can certainly get back to you afterwards with something more exact.
That'd be appreciated. Thank you so much. Any of my colleagues have questions, comments? Councilwoman Frisbee?
So one, I want to thank you both for this presentation of our City of Trenton's Safe Streets for All. And I do have just a few questions, and the council president did allude to some of them, but the data, is there a way of you getting us data that shows where, and let's say you mentioned Jersey City, where this is where that used to be, but now since that's been in place, this is where they are now. If we can get something like that, I would greatly appreciate it. I believe in these. I've seen them. I believe that they have definitely made a major improvement. It does slow down traffic. But if we could just get some data like that, just to give a comparison, it would be great. I'm glad that you guys, you've gotten $1 million received through 2 grants. That's really great. And I appreciate the fact that you are working with the county and the state as well. But I had one other question on here, and I cannot find it. Sparks, Cups, and other cities. Oh, and the timeline. What would the timeline look like if this were to be implemented here? Do we have an idea of that?
It is being implemented. We don't have the timeline established at this point. That's a discussion that really revolves around how much do you want to invest? Because there's a lot that can be helped by engineering to reduce speeds and create safer crossings for pedestrians, for instance. And then it's a question of capacity. I can tell you that DVRPC as a region, as well as several other localities, have chosen a goal of 0 by 2050. The state has chosen a goal of 2040. Some other municipalities have chosen much closer deadlines, like Jersey City. I'm not sure what they're going to do, but their goal was 2026. The Hoboken is in the 30s, 2030, I forget exactly, but so you can see it's a little bit all over.
Thank you. And then my final question is, with funding, there are several streets on here that I agree. John Fitch Way, Layler, South Clinton, Perry, all of these, Calhoun. Do we have the funding to cover all of these? And if not, how do we prioritize those that are not covered?
One of the principles of Vision Zero is to look where crashes are happening and where fatalities are in particular are happening. And that is typically the way that prioritization happens. That's also a question for our committee and administration to agree with us on. But that tends to be address the problems where they're happening.
Okay. Thank you. No more questions. Thank you, Madam President.
Council Vice President Williams.
Thank you, Council President. So one of the things I've been very happy to be a very, very small part of this committee. You guys are doing amazing work, and the collaboration among citizens across the board, our government, DVRPC, and so forth, bringing in speakers from other municipalities, Philadelphia, I believe Richmond, Virginia was another one, are very important. But one of the questions I have, and I think it'd be good to kind of, if you could highlight how reporting is done, and particularly some of the things I know we talked about, and I shared the accident when I was struck by a motor vehicle while I was in a crosswalk doing all the right things.
Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
If you could talk about how reporting is from local law enforcement when incidents happen, whether they're pedestrian, bicycle related, but also how maybe we can improve self-reporting and making sure that, particularly, communities that are more vulnerable may not want to talk to law enforcement, or people just don't think, hey, I should call the police and get a police report. Like how incorporating that information.
I'll try to answer some of that.
There's a lot there.
I think that is aligned with a lot of the questions that other committee members have raised as well. So for the next meeting, we'll be asking the police department to actually do an overview of that, the process of what happens when a crash occurs, what is their internal process, how do they work with other departments if there's a jurisdictional crossover there. So I don't have all the details, but I do think that is a big gap of underreporting, especially when there's someone outside a vehicle that's involved. And I definitely think that's a major gap. So thank you for bringing that up.
One of the other things that is used in other cities is urgent care or emergency ward data from the hospitals, where if people don't feel comfortable going to the police to report or self-report, or that the police are not on the scene of the accident, the crash, sorry, that's a second level of data that is collected by some cities.
Okay. Well, thank you. And thank you for everything you're doing, because I do believe you're indeed saving lives and also saving people from serious or permanent injuries as pedestrians or bike riders or in car accidents. Thank you, Council President.
Councilman Harrison.
President. Yes, this is great, this information. This is one of the reasons why I've been so heartily about the traffic unit. I know Director Wilson knows I'm so for it. We have people that drive erratically fast all over the city, and that's a major problem. If we have a traffic unit, we can slow people down, and we wouldn't have this. These numbers are really, when you're looking at them, they're unbelievable. I'm looking, like you're saying here, it's 45, and then the next is like almost 30. That's the big difference. It's a big drop off. So I'm grateful that we're doing this, and you're right. We got to continually do everything we can and advocate to get the people to slow down. Thank you.
Councilman Feliciano, did you have something?
Thank you, Council President. Good evening. Thank you for the presentation and for the information. I appreciate that we have different committees and everything, but then just to have tangible reports that we can look at, the report out is very important. So thank you for that. It took quite a while to get this underway. I recall, and I thought I saw Will's here. Is he here? Hey, yes. Wills. That I saw Will's here when the process had started. And I know I had asked him a couple of times when you all would be meeting to pop in and just kind of say hello. I never got those dates or times to know when it is that you will be meeting. But I definitely, if you could let us know, you said one is in May and then another one is in July. If somebody could send me the meeting dates and times, send the council, it's okay if people want to know, just so that we're aware. So if we want to just kind of pop in and see, but I've been very interested to know and to be able to sit in and just listen. So thank you for this. I appreciate you and all the work that you're doing. Look forward to forward progression with this. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Council President.
Councilwoman Edwards.
Thank you. Thank you for this presentation. We have definitely been raising a lot of concerns about the traffic issues, pedestrian issues all around the city. So this is a great opportunity for us. I have a couple of things that I really want to ask about in addition to everything else that was said. Are you working with the state along Route 29 to change anything at all?
At this moment, we have not addressed Route 29 in that regard. I do know, however, that there is with the change in administration, and there's also a change at the DOT, there's a new person who is coming into the position of statewide planning director, and he happens to come from Jersey City, where he ran the Vision Zero task force for Jersey City. So he's acutely sensitized to areas like the state road problems. I will hopefully be able to bring that up to him in a conversation about Target Zero, which is what the state program is about. And I can get back to you.
Okay, because I wanted to suggest some things that I've been speaking to a lot of the residents over there about reducing Route 1 to one lane, starting from where the island, the entrances of the island begin. If you're coming from downtown towards that area where Lee Avenue is, if you start to reduce that down to one lane and make left lane only, right lane only, one straight lane throughout Glen Afton until you get to the other side of Glen Afton, it will create shoulders on both sides for a trash and recycling collection, where a lot of us, I've driven that road for 10 years. I don't even have half the horror stories that Glen Afton residents have. Dodging the trash and recycling workers because they have a slim shoulder compared to a full-blown parking lane on both sides where to make it safe for them to collect, also for pedestrians to cross. And it'll restore that neighborhood to a neighborhood and not a highway driven through it. So it just changes the whole culture over there and make it pedestrian first versus traffic first. And then also, and going in both directions as well, not just from downtown towards Ewing. And then also when you get off of Route 29 onto Parkside, it's crazy right there, that intersection with West 8th Street and Parkside, and everyone's racing to get to that one lane through the bridge, going under the bridge. I would like for you guys to consider left lane only, right lane only, one lane straight, and that'll create parking on that right-hand side. So when people are over there at the baseball game, it'll add on additional parking. No one's racing to the bridge, and it'll calm down the traffic over there, and it'll, connect that to the rest of Parkside, which is one lane all the way until you get to Ewing anyway. So it'll calm everything down and make it safe for that school right there, pedestrian first kind of thing. And I'm like hoping the same for West 8th Street to be one lane eventually, left lane, right lane, or turning lanes for people to get in and out of neighborhoods, and have one lane going in each direction down West 8th Street. That would be very helpful for that entire neighborhood, in the West Ward. So those were my ideas. I've been talking to a lot of residents in that area and figuring out how we can kind of calm traffic down. It's a lot of speedway racing over there. So that'd be helpful.
I can tell you that Route 29 is also part of a larger project looking at the distance between Calhoun Street and the bridges to Pennsylvania, where there is a lot of traffic calming embedded in that design, and that will hopefully eventually be built. But in the meantime, we need to take these issues and address them as you've pointed out. So we will be in touch.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilwoman Frisbee.
Yeah, I just want to readdress actually what my colleague, Councilwoman Edwards actually said. The road, that ramp coming off the Parkside Catwalder Park exit, I actually have been in conversation for the last 3 months with Senator Turner and DOT with that. That is a county road,
Yes.
actually, and they are working on just that, making it one lane that goes straight left, right. There is resistance with that, so that is a conversation that we are continuing to have, but just putting that out there, that is something that actually it's been more than 3 months that we've been having a discussion on.
I am aware of this plan for restriping. I'm not sure the full extent of it, but it is a county road.
Yeah, it is a county road. I've been in several meetings about that. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you. And Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes. So thank you so much for the presentation and for this information, and for all of the work that you put into this. Most of it was my two questions were already asked about Layler and 129 in that area. However, I just had one quick question. With the $1 million that the grant was received, is that what was already? Was that 1 million used already with the stuff that has been done?
No.
Or is that's going to be additional? So we'll be adding to these numbers here soon.
So roughly 800 is allocated towards what's called a bikeways grant for Prospect Street, where the idea is to design a cycle track that's protected on Prospect Street. The other roughly 200 is for Perry Street for planning to improve the overall design of Perry Street. As you know, is a hot mess with the 9th grade academy grant intermediate and the Route 1 interchanges along with the fire department, et cetera, et cetera. So that's a planning grant as opposed to a construction.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Thank you, Council President.
Thank you all so much for this presentation. Every pedestrian struck, whether walking or on bike, and every car struck while moving into an unsettled or unsafe intersection is one too many. We have so many of them in the city of Trenton. So thank you all for working on this so diligently and putting this together for us. And we look forward to what's to come. Thank you so much. And also, if you can, as Councilman Feliciano asked, if you can make us aware of meetings coming up, that would be great.
We will.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Garcia, we can proceed.
Certainly, Madam President. At this time, we have an additional additional presentation from Ajax. I have here listed Vista Center Development LLC regarding Ordinance 26024.
Mr. Garcia, please notify them of the time for the presentation.
Certainly, to the presenter, you will have 10 minutes. And if you have any visual aid, now will be the time. Nope, sounds good.
How about now? Great, thank you. Good evening. Pleased to say I dropped off a pair of boots this morning at Chiquinto's to get resold, so that was good timing for him. So my name is Daniel Brenna. I'm with Vista Center Development. We have an ordinance number 26-024 on the docket tonight, and I thought it'd be a really good idea to give you an update as to where we are. The best way to do this is to read a letter that we provided Mr. Bridges recently in a package that was provided to all city council members. I'm just going to read this letter. This is from our attorney to the city, and then we can talk. So, dear Mr. Bridges, I want to briefly summarize the history of our project near the Trenton train station to provide context for our request to extend the developer designation agreement. I'll try to be brief. Notably, the amendment was already unanimously approved by council last November, and because it didn't get on the docket again in December, the second reading couldn't occur, and you need to have second reading happen in the same calendar year. So we already went through this, it just missed the docket. But it's a really good time for me to come up and bring everybody up to speed. So in any event, this goes way back to 2008. We were designated as developer. We executed an agreement with the city. The plan was for 3 sites. One was an office building and 2 apartment buildings. We completed the design process, and obtained final site plan approval for phase 1, an office building next to the Trenton train station. During this time, we partnered with the Rockefeller Development Group out of New York City, and we pursued several major corporate tenants with the goal of bringing a large employer to Trenton. This has been my goal for a very long time, to bring private employment down to Trenton. Unfortunately, litigation was filed by a neighboring property owner due to a deficient train station area redevelopment plan. So the city's redevelopment plan was not current, it was deficient. So that opened up the case for someone to pursue litigation against that. Normally, the city would defend that suit and the planning board, but they did not, so I had to. So we had to fund the entire litigation. We retained planning consultants and assist in revising the redevelopment plan. This process took several years, ultimately caused prospective tenants and our partner to withdraw. Incentives that the EDA had expired, and the project became infeasible. At that time, our council recommended that we pursue litigation against the city, but we declined. We subsequently redesigned phase 1 as a residential building. We have approvals to move forward, and construction will begin this year. Phase 2 and 3 required the acquisition of 2 vacant city-owned properties. Although we requested acquisition of these parcels in 2008 and 2011, the city defaulted on its obligations under that agreement and didn't complete the transfers until 2022. It took more than 14 years to buy these dilapidated properties from the city. During that time, our development timelines under the agreement expired through no fault of our own. We obtained amendments to extend the timelines, and once again, we're requesting to do the same. Again, at that time, our redevelopment council recommended litigation against the city for the defaults, but I declined. At this point, we're simply requesting that we extend the existing agreement that we've been requesting for 5 years so that our project timelines align with the current financing and development conditions. There are no more city properties we're trying to acquire. Redevelopment of the train station has long been a stated priority for the city. the new zoning ordinance, redevelopment plans, and Trenton 250 plan, and multiple transit-oriented planning studies all call for precisely this type of development. Ajax has maintained a continuous commitment to Trenton for more than 25 years and undertaking ongoing redevelopment projects throughout the city. Despite navigating 5 mayoral administrations, over 13 economic development directors, 2 major recessions, COVID, we remain committed to completing this project. When finished, the development will bring hundreds of new residents to a currently blighted area, generate significant tax rateables, improve safety around the station. And so that's the letter from the attorney. And then I just want to put this into a little perspective personally. This city and this council has an obligation to create and support quality housing in this city. This is all I've been doing my entire career in Trenton. And just to give a little perspective, we've got about, and you all know this, we have about 90,000 people that live in Trenton. Last year, do you know how many new housing units were delivered in Trenton? It's under 50. As a comparison, New Brunswick, which has 58,000 people, delivered 584 units last year. So it's not a criticism, it just shows the scale of opportunity in front of us. Because when we build housing, we're not just building apartments, we're growing the tax base, we're supporting local businesses, and we're bringing life, safety, and activity to the streets, which you all know because I live across the street at the Bell Telephone Building, which was vacant for 35 years. Now there's life there, there's people on the street, there's an active block that was completely inactive. So I just want to say we're committed to this, we're committed to the city for a very long time. We've stayed through the delays, we've stayed through changes in administrations. We are, again, it's very hard to have continuity when you're changing the heads of economic development director every year. It's nearly impossible. But I believe in Trenton, and we're not asking for anything new. I know there's been some chatter online about condemnation, all that stuff. So there's only one relocation that we may need assistance with, and it's a pair of billboards. We have an alternative location. We're not looking to kick anybody out of their house or business or anything like that. This is just to align the agreement timelines, because in order to get financing, you need to have, your banks want to see that everything is in line. You can't have expired or defaulted agreements to continue. That's all we're looking to do. So we just want to finish what we started, and that's what we're here for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Council colleagues, if anybody has any questions,
Council President?
Council Vice President Williams.
Yes, I do. So yeah, this has been a long-standing project in the city. And I know you are a long-established developer in our city. So a lot of folks have questions regarding particularly the two mansions, or old, I don't know, you'd say technically say mansions if you're in Newport, Rhode Island, but for the old days of Greenwood Avenue in the 1900s, 1800s, they would be considered mansions. And the conditions they fell into, why they fell into those conditions over the years, but also the corner gas station. I want to start there. So what happens with the corner gas station project?
Nothing.
So it will remain a gas station going forward?
Correct.
Okay.
That's the original owner of that is the one that filed the lawsuit back at the beginning, and that's going to stay that way.
Okay, I'm very happy to hear that, because that was something I was concerned with for Trentonians, workers that come into the city. God forbid that we have a natural disaster or a man-made disaster, such as tourism, and we have a sudden evacuation, that people do not have a gas station in that part of the city to go to. Having lived through hurricanes in New Orleans, gasoline is gold and trying to flee an urban area.
Yeah, I mean, there's two right down the street on Greenwood, but it doesn't matter because we don't own it and we're not interested in it.
Sure.
It's also pretty rough there at night. It's pretty bad. In fact, there's a lot of illicit activity. There's drug dealing that goes on there, so that would be nice if we could get that some attention there. There's actually a police mobile station there with cameras. It's so bad right there. So,
Yeah, but my concern pretty much, I hear you, I agree, but that's something we need to solve long-term.
yeah,
And I know the city's trying, but to the gas station there, it's also a beacon in the night. If something happens, people have a place to go to.
yeah,
But also when you have tens of thousands of people fleeing, it is an infrastructure issue and an emergency management issue to have the availability of gasoline. So I'm really happy that you mentioned that.
not touching it, yeah.
So that's a guarantee. So regarding the mansions across or right next to those, but across from the Nexus parking lot. So those two mansions will be torn down for the new buildings?
Yeah, but not next to the Nexus parking lot, next the,
Well, next to the parking garage, excuse me.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's no possibility of salvaging them and incorporating them into your vision? of
No,
that
I mean, when you look at transit-oriented development and you look at resource utilization, it's much, we can create a lot more density and increase the tax base there. It's a much better use of that. There, and also, I mean, as a point of reference, across the street, there's someone that owns 4 buildings there. 3 of them he bought from the city 25 years ago on a disposition agreement for $1,000 a piece. He was required within 24 months to complete and occupy them. 3 of the buildings are still vacant. So he's 23 years in default from the city, just as a reference point.
Understood. And that's something obviously we have to get on with too, ATD. But regarding the 2 mansions, when were they originally vacated? But either hopefully, I don't know if it was before you purchased them, or when did they fall into the situation when no one was?
That's been, I mean, they're vacated for at least 6, 7 years, I think.
Okay.
But they're, I mean, that site's approved, that construction's going to start this year on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I know the white one closest to Walnut is in very bad condition because we're
They keep trying to burn it down on me, yeah.
clean and making sure it's boarded up for vagrants. But the other one close to the gas station, that is not of an age where there's any historical designation to it?
No.
Okay. All right. And then the issue of improvements on the sidewalks, walkways, crosswalks, et cetera. What improvements will be made by your development project should this go forth?
Well, that one site that's done, that's approved, we're going to build. And then when you rebuild these things, you end up redoing everything. You redo the sidewalks, the curbs, the whole thing. So every site will be completely redone. It's part of the site plan process. Okay. And no one's going to let you just keep, 1 or 2 broken sidewalks. You got to redo the whole thing. So it'll be nice. It'll be well lit. It'll be safer. You talk about a beacon as the gas station. Imagine, hundreds of people living. I could tell you when we went back and redid everything with a redevelopment plan, I personally paid for a blight study. That area is technically and officially blighted by an independent planner. So it's a lot of, it's blighted. So we'll create activity and lights and everything.
And then as far as the intersection towards South Clinton, we've had problems with jurisdiction on getting it cleaned of snow, maintenance, et cetera. Are there any responsibilities as you as a developer, as Ajax, for improving that general area towards that as far as your agreement?
Where is this?
Where it used to be the old Greenwood Circle, but where South Clinton meets Greenwood, and then you go past the gas station and go over the train overpasses towards Market Street. Because you would be having foot traffic towards the train station, particularly from South Clinton and that neighborhood, High Street, Terrell, and so forth.
Back there, we're not. We're on the corner there.
Yeah.
But in the direction talking about over Market Street towards the other side of the train station, that's just Market Street.
Yeah,
I guess I'm not following.
Where South Clinton enters.
South Clinton?
Yeah, it used to be years ago. I know you grew up here.
Oh, yeah, sure.
They would front the Greenwood Circle. So on your side of what would have been the Greenwood Circle, now is an actual intersection. Not the best of intersections, certainly needs to be improved.
Right.
But I just wonder if there are any improvements that Ajax will be responsible for, or that will be.
Well, we'd like to rebuild that corner there and create an apartment building there. So that would redo the whole corner and
Okay,
light it and put new sidewalks and all that stuff.
understood.
Yeah.
And the last question, because this came up with a number of individuals who approached me and then, put stuff out online, asking questions. What were the original properties that were purchased from the city? Because I know it's 18 years ago. Just so we
There's
can-
just two. One is on that near there was a vacant, I think it's maybe 355 Greenwood, which was an empty building the city took back for taxes. And another one was like 400 block, was this little driveway and a dilapidated garage in the back. And that was it. It was just two city properties.
Gotcha. And then,
The rest we've acquired on our own privately, so it's all our property.
all right, thank you. And then, Mr. Brenner, last question. The billboards that I believe that they, it's a question whether they're actually part of the gas station on South Clayton just before you hit the bridge. And then there used to be small properties that were torn down, I'm gonna guess in
Right.
in the late 70s.
I know what you mean.
between
The
the-
city has a fence up.
Yeah, exactly. Do you all own that, or is that's still city property?
You do.
Just want to make sure, because there's some ideas for some improvements in that part, and that helped.
Can't really access it from the
Yes.
street now because there's the barricades, the concrete barricades there.
But we still do get folks who are homeless in the winter time and summertime. They need a place so they
To come around the back of
come
the
around the billboards. Yes.
billboards and the other side of the gas station.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with it.
Thank you very much for your answer
Thank
my
you.
questions. Thanks, Council President.
Thank you, Council Vice President.
Council President?
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes, I just want to make sure I'm clear. First of all, thank you for the presentation and for sharing this information with us and giving us some more information on it. Where the diagram is, you're going to build the office building and the apartments.
No office
Oh.
building anymore.
Oh, okay.
It's very difficult to find
we're
a
just doing
company to move here.
The apartments.
Just apartments, correct?
Okay, second question. Are any of those apartments going to be geared to any special population, veterans, low income?
Just market rate workforce housing.
And my next question is going to be, how many local contractors will you be using, Mr. Brenner?
Well, the general contractor is a local contractor, which is us. And we have a group of people we work with frequently. And some are local people. I mean, we're local. We have, our team is Trenton employees. And I'm trying to think which subs. I mean, we use buy all our materials from Trenton, which is a big deal. People kind of overlook that. Sherwin-Williams, Camco, all the sheetrock, a lot of materials, the roofing materials. So a lot of materials come from that. As far as subs go, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I mean, we use carpet guys, we use concrete guys from Trenton, we use roofing companies from Trenton. We don't have that many really large-scale commercial mechanical trades here, like electric, plumbing. Actually, the plumber I'm using right now on a project is a Trenton company. Now that I think about it, on Greenwood Avenue, we're building a project. So, I mean, we use who we can, but they have to be qualified, and there's no particular requirements for that stuff. But because we're Trenton-based and we're Trenton contractor, try to spread around the love when we can.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. I have a quick question. Thank you so much for your presentation. Appreciate, everything that you put into the city. Recently with legislation, with the project labor agreement, lifted restrictions on how much projects are that, unions get bids for jobs. Have you considered at all going to some of the unions for some of the construction of this project?
I think everyone in New Jersey will tell you, if you put a prevailing wage requirement on it, then you need to heavily subsidize it. It's impossible to build right now in Trenton with union requirements. In fact, as a point of reference, the Van Sciver building, which is heavily subsidized, the city gave them $1.5 million, and the state is giving them like over $20 million. Their first model of doing that was going to use the Aspire program from EDA, and which would have triggered prevailing wage. The prevailing wage costs drove up the cost so much, they're actually not doing prevailing wage, even though they're getting like over $20 million in subsidies on that. That's how difficult it is. So there's no requirements for us because it's all private capital.
Okay. So without that, you are pledging to use licensed local contractors for this project.
Well, anyone is qualified. And so if you said, well, you got to use a mechanical contractor, we don't really have any commercial mechanical contractors in Trenton that I've tried to work with people, but they're just not here. So we try to use who we can, but also it's not such a simple thing to be like, use this guy or use this gal, because they need to be qualified. They need to show up. They need to do their job. And construction has risk, right? People fall off ladders. They can get hurt. You need to know who you're getting in bed with, because now all of a sudden they're your partner, and they need to be safe and they need to be reliable.
Okay. So
As far as being licensed, they have to be licensed, because I can't get insurance unless people are licensed.
Right. I should have versed that as is feasible. So,
Absolutely, yeah, of course.
okay. Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, technically, like, we're probably the largest construction company in Trenton, so that kind of starts right at the top, which I think is nice.
Thank you. Thank you.
Council President?
Councilman Feliciano.
Thank you. So I don't have a question. I just have a comment, because I listened to my colleagues and I understand our concerns about wanting people to use local developers where you can. But again, we need to make sure that the people that we're using are qualified to do the work. So I learned the hard way at one time at a former residence, right? There was someone that said that they did a certain kind of work, okay? And it ended up costing me more money on the back end going with old boy who said he knew how to hook up the gas work. And then, you know what I mean? It's gas. We don't need to play with it. So we want somebody who actually is qualified and certified to do the work. So while I encourage us to use local businesses and everything on the serious side, while I am definitely for that 100%, we just need to make sure that they're qualified people that we're putting in position to do the work. So,
You know, I know that that's an important thing. People talk about using local contractors, but let's not miss the point of the local suppliers, because when you build a construction project, half the cost is in materials. I mean, on average, half the cost is materials, half is labor. So if you're buying all your paint, all your sheetrock, all your roofing, all your, plumbing, electric, all those suppliers are here, right? We have all those supply houses here in Trenton: steel, plumbing, electric, maybe not the HVAC equipment, but the aluminum, right, that goes on the coping around the roof. So there's a lot of stuff here in Trenton. We buy almost all our stuff from Trenton when we can. And I think that's important, because when you buy from them, that supports those jobs. And those supply houses have a lot of jobs in them. There's a lot of people working at these places, like Camco, which is on Olden Avenue, and the sheetrock, gypsum, the guy over the old Trentonian site. They have a huge operation there, and actually there's a new one on New York Avenue. So these companies all employ people, and they mostly employ probably local people. So there's like another way of flowing through the chain of spending the money. So it's just an important thing to keep in mind.
Councilman Harrison.
The question is the time frame. How long would it get started? How long do you think it'll take to finish?
Well, the first one is we'll start this year, and these jobs take 12 to 18 months, and then we'd like to do one a year. Be done. I need to be done with this thing.
How many overall units are you thinking?
The first one's about 100, and I think overall we could be at 250 to 300 units, which will bring, if an average about 2 people per apartment, you could be looking at 500-600 new people to that area, which is really powerful.
Right. Exactly.
And hopefully, one of the advantages Trenton has that we all need to be mindful of is, there's a thing going on right now which we've never seen before, which is artificial intelligence, and we all need to be mindful of that. What happened in this town when all these jobs left after World War II and all these factories became vacant, a similar dynamic is going to happen in companies, because all this artificial intelligence is making companies much more efficient. And I don't want to get too far on this, but this is something that's on my mind because are we going to be able to continue attracting people to come to Trenton if artificial intelligence is going to make this Mercer County labor market more efficient and they don't need as many employees?
Bless you.
So where's Trenton positioning in that? Because a lot of the new jobs that are being created, technology, software stuff, it's not in Mercer County. So how can we benefit? Well, I think the benefit we have in Trenton is that we are a little lower priced. As you go up the train tracks, you go up into Princeton, New Brunswick, Rahway, those are much more expensive places. So if we can get people to come down here because it's a little cheaper in rents or housing costs, and then they take the train and they get these higher paying jobs up north or down in Philadelphia, we can be positioned well for that.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
That's what I'm hoping for. Otherwise, AI is going to just wipe out all these jobs, and then I don't know, then we're all in trouble.
Right. Thank you, Council President.
Council President,
Oh,
I just have one more. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's all right. Councilman Gonzalez.
One quick question to Councilman Feliciano. Thank you, Council President. Just with the apartment complex, will it have parking included?
Yes.
Okay. I was
Yeah.
just asking.
You need to.
Yeah, that's all.
Even though we're by a train station, it's still New Jersey and people have cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Councilman Frisbee.
So Councilman Gonzalez and Councilman Feliciano, we at the exact same thing. So I was going to ask about the parking because we know that that is a big hardship here in the city already. But I also wanted to say thank you for being steady with us. For this to have been going on since 2008 is a little disheartening, but I look forward to this ordinance coming back before us. And I'm sorry, I'll say that I'm sorry that we missed getting our second reading in the month of November when it was unanimously approved in that month of 2025. So I do look forward to that coming back here before us. And I do want to just echo some of the words of Councilman Feliciano, and you've also said, we don't always have, we want to employ as many Trentonians as we possibly can. But again, you have to have qualified individuals. We can't just say, oh, I'm going to bring in such and such, I want a job. Well, if you're not qualified to do the job, then you cannot do the job. We can't employ you for, and again, it's a health risk, it's an insurance risk, and all of those types of things. But it does open up the window for those of us who are able to work and who are qualified. It does open up the window to keep those shops that are in our city with, would you please mute whoever that is? If you it also opens up the opportunity to keep small mom and pops and the local businesses going because you are buying the materials here and they are being bought locally, so they do not shut down. So I am appreciative of that, and I'm glad that you said that as well. I want to do right by everybody in any situation, but I always find it the most important things that it is actually done right. Not doing it under the table. We're not doing it one hand to wash the other hand. We're doing it because this is the right thing that it is supposed to do. And right now, the right thing to do is to make sure that we get this ordinance back before us, and then we can go back and let's see how do we move this forward. I am just impressed, I guess is the word for the moment, is that you had opportunity to take this in a different way with Trenton with as far as litigation. I'm appreciative of the fact that you did not, because it would have cost our taxpayers countless dollars on two different accounts that you've noted here. So I appreciate your integrity. I appreciate you not just trying to make this as something that you can make money off the backs of residents by saying, well, you didn't do your part, I'm going to do this in retaliation because I lost, whatever it is. But I'm appreciative of that. And so I'm hoping that I'm going to be looking for this to come back before us so that we can get this handled the proper way and done as quickly as possible in decency and in order. Thank you, sir. And thank you, Madam President.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I off of what she said, she kind of took the words out of my mouth. I didn't know whether to applaud or query the 14 years and potential litigation and moving forward. I'm really hoping that this is something that we're going to applaud moving forward, that it's going to be successful for the city of Trenton. I think Councilman Edwards, go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Brenda.
Hi.
Thank you for coming in today. As you saw on social media, a lot of people were in the uproar about the original plans that you had for this entire area. And I'm glad to see that you have made adjustments because to do an office building post-COVID didn't really seem to make sense anymore. So I'm glad to see that you pivoted.
Not that I wouldn't love to do one. I'd love to see a major employer come to Trenton. I really would.
Likewise. I have a couple of concerns that I'm still not quite clear on. They were mentioned a little earlier in your comments and questioning. The yellow property and the house next to it between Walnut and Clinton is where you want to build this apartment complex, correct? This is where the office building
Between Walnut? Yeah,
Walnut.
okay, Walnut, yep.
and Clinton.
Mm-hmm,
And you own everything over there already.
yes,
Okay, so and that's phase 1 of this?
correct.
Okay. And then phase 2 is in that, I want to call it the dead end area where the billboards are. That's a different phase of this project?
Yeah, it's either one is the next one, whichever one we can move faster on.
Okay. So in phase 2 and 3, I assume that that's what that is.
Yes.
Okay. So the billboards are privately owned,
Mhm.
correct? Have you been in negotiation with the owner?
Yeah, we have.
And
Oh, we're trying to do it privately, but they move very slow.
Okay.
And also, I didn't want to push too hard if I don't have a development agreement that's current, so we can't get financing if that goes through. And it's also nicer to have the current agreement in place so that they know that it's there and it's just a better move for them to sell it privately because they'll probably get more if we buy it privately than if it was through alternative means, which you'd have to get an appraisal and they probably wouldn't be happy with the price.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me. So in
Also, those billboards, the assessment's so low, they don't really pay. I mean, that's a citywide problem, actually. The billboards are assessed very low.
Mhm.
So it's a much more efficient use of our tax base to bring up the values of these properties too.
And do you plan on incorporating the billboards to replace them in the new project?
Not at that location, no.
Not at that location. So that's what you're trying to work out with them.
Correct.
So in previous documents, and correct me if I'm wrong, Director Bridges, there was something about eminent domain
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that you were requesting the city to declare eminent domain on those had you not come to an agreement. Is that no longer on
We
the table?
requested it many, many years ago and the city didn't act on it. That's one of the defaults.
Okay.
Because the city agreement says that the city would do that. But when you say, it's like, the challenge is like when you do anything in Trenton, you're our partner. The city of Trenton is a partner with anything that happens here. And when you have an agreement and one party does one thing and the other party doesn't, then that's a default. And so there's not much you can do about that. You just keep going back and try to extend it and seek assistance. And then when you don't honor the obligations, then it's, what do you do? What am I supposed to do?
So the city at the time in 2007, under this original agreement, agreed by council vote
Mhm.
to declare eminent domain on these 2 billboard properties
Yeah.
to give to you.
That's in all almost every redevelopment plan. The city has those powers.
I understand that. So my concern is for us to do that and you guys not come up with any type of an agreement to replace the billboards that this person owns. That's kind of, from public opinion, predatory behavior.
It's not predatory at all. It's the foundation of redevelopment law in New Jersey. All other cities, all these cities that have grown, Union, Jersey City, New Brunswick, Camden, everybody's utilized. But we do have an alternative location for them, but we haven't been able to get into that with them because the city is not partnering with us on that.
Okay.
So, and in condemnation, there is a component to that, which is a relocation option if they want that, if they're interested.
Okay.
If they're not interested, then that whole issue goes away. But if they're interested, we'll find them an alternative location. And we have a couple ideas to work with them. And we're happy to do that. But, it's an obligation on the city's part.
Okay. So this contract has since expired because of the litigation. I know you had a lot of setbacks with that for several years. So to extend this still includes eminent domain?
Yes. for billboards.
Okay. I understand they're just billboards.
Hmm.
I'm trying to consider the owner's perspective here as someone who
It's
invested.
Interstate. They're a major company.
Mhm.
They're pretty big.
Okay. So you're confident that you guys can work things out?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
It's also a business that's, I would think they'd be pretty happy to get money because this is a business that's being deeply affected by digital advertising. So a lot of billboard companies are going through a lot of change right now.
I would like to see some digital billboards around the city.
I'm not saying digital billboards. I'm saying their advertising is ending up on our phones and on our computers versus on billboards right now.
Okay. I have no further questions.
Thanks.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Council Vice President, in the interest of time, if you could just
I
make
will
this
be
quick, thank you
efficient.
so much.
As a jetliner. Councilwoman Edwards, thank you very much for bringing that up, because had you not, I was going to close with that. I have a very big problem with the use of eminent domain. I know in the Supreme Court of the United States in Kelo versus City of New London, stated 5-4 decision that eminent domain can be used by a municipality against private property. I do not feel comfortable with that in this case. And I would like to ask that this be revisited with eliminating use of eminent domain on a private property in the city of Trenton. I believe this could be worked out. I don't believe that the use of eminent domain is necessary. Thank you.
Yes, please, excuse me. Let's have order. All right, thank you so much for answering the question. If you want to respond to that.
I'd be happy
I'll
to
allow
respond.
it.
So
We need to
if
move on.
this was the deal that the city entered into with us initially and it changes, then we'll have to proceed differently then, because then the whole assemblage becomes worthless. So we would like to build. I don't think this is going to be a problem for that type of, this is not some family that's being uprooted and dislocated. It's just, they're just billboards that are not paying their fair share of city taxes. For instance, billboards, what are these billboards worth? Probably a couple $100,000. They're assessed at $60,000. So the city in blighted areas and redevelopment areas needs to think about utilizing our resources and getting the fair share. You're talking about fair share, about getting the right people employed in Trenton. The city needs to think about growing the revenues. And this is a tool. This is one of the tools. It's the only major tool that any city has to grow out of this malaise that we're in. And so I humbly ask that we continue to use this. And sometimes you don't even need to go through that process. Just the threat of it helps bring people to the table and negotiate and cut a deal. So that's the real value of having that. So I would request that we could continue and get this ordinance passed and we can continue on this property. And I understand what you're saying, but this is a very different scenario than an individual having to be relocated than just a commercial use that's not paying fair taxes, in my view.
Thank you again. With regards to eminent domain, states possess the sovereignty for eminent domain. I think if my council colleagues want to look into that process, I would welcome it. However, in this instance, and given this example, I understand where you guys are coming from, but I kind of agree with eminent domain, how it has been a process and how it's being utilized here. So thank you again for your presentation. I really do appreciate it. Thank you, colleagues, for all your input. Mr. Garcia, we may proceed. Thank you.
Certainly, Madam President. At this time, I believe we have a budget presentation, and I will leave the floor to Mr. Cherry. And Madam President, just to be clear, we have 10 minutes for this presentation as well, correct?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Good evening, members of council. Good evening, members of the public. I'll just state at the outset, this is always true, but we will be posting this presentation on the website. So if you don't catch something this evening, some of it's going to be small, especially for those in the audience. You can access the presentation on the website. We will get it posted. The plan is for tomorrow. As usual, we'll start with our overview. Our proposed budget for this year is $298.4 million, including grants, which is about a $17.1 million increase compared to last year. Our tax rate, as mandated by DCA as part of the Transition Aid Program, is going to be going up by 2%. From about $3.70 to $3.78, and some additional decimals. It's a little over 7 cents increase. The total levy, however, is going to decrease by about almost $20,000. That is because the city has lost about between $45 and $48 million worth of ratables, either some due to revals, some due to appeals evaluations, some due to non-taxable entities acquiring property. But that is why you're going to see the tax levy decrease despite the tax rate increasing. This budget assumes $59 million in transition Gesundheit. This budget assumes $59 million in transition aid, which is an $18.5 million increase from last year's transition aid allocation, which is about 40% increase or so. And it still anticipates $10 million in capital city aid. The appropriations exceed the 3.5% cap by $18 million. And so we will require a waiver from the local finance board to adopt the budget later. But this is something that we've done for the last 2 years. So council should be at least familiar with that process. That will happen before adoption, and just so that we're all anticipating the timeline. The state is likely to tell us what our aid numbers are sometime in July. That will cause us to finalize the budget sometime in August. And it's likely that we will be before local finance board in probably October-ish, like we were last year. And then we can adopt our budget if and only if we receive that approval from the local finance board. So we're talking about aggressively September or October in terms of our budget adoption. This, which I know is not visible from the audience, but again, will be available online. This just shows a comparison and breakdown from the adopted budget of 25 versus our requested budget of 26. This is just a pie chart that shows where our revenue is coming from. You can see transition aid, as well as other forms of state aid. Taxes make up about 30% of our revenue, and we have some additional sources in there as well. The revenue is 285.5, excluding grants, which are another nearly 13 million. Again, this is anticipating 59 million in transition aid, and other state aid includes the $10 million of capital city aid, as well as 59.7 million in the energy receipts tax, which is just something that every municipality receives a portion of. This is our appropriations outlook. It's pretty much the same as it is every year, percentage-wise. This pie chart just shows the percentage of the appropriations that cover each category. Department costs are about half the budget. About a third are fringe benefits. Small amount is debt service, and then a little bit for general liability, workers' comp. And then the last 10%, well, 11%, are the reserve for uncollected taxes, library budget, and things such as that. Tax impact of the budget, as I said before, the levy has decreased 0.02 of a percentage point from the previous year. Tax rate is going up 2%, which is a little over 7 cents. And that means the estimated impact for a property that's assessed at $100,000 would be $74 per year. And that is our presentation. Do members of council have any questions?
Thank you so much, Mr. Cherry. I have two quick questions.
Sure.
One, can you just clarify the differentials between the transition aid, capital city aid, and state aid?
So let me go back to our revenue summary.
Like
So
where it comes from, you know?
yeah, so all of it comes from the state, obviously. Transition aid is a discretionary program that's controlled by the Department of Community Affairs, the local government services office specifically. And every year they have a large pot of money for all distressed municipalities throughout the state. The city submits an application, a competitive application, seeking some portion of that allocation, and then we will receive that. That's what we're asking for, is the 59. That is not set in stone. We won't know, as I said, till likely July, once the state has adopted its budget on July 1, and then the DCA will decide how they divvy up what they're allocated. The 59.7 million in energy receipt tax is, I would argue that it is money that belongs to the municipalities that the state has and continues to take and not necessarily provide all of to municipalities, but they provide more than they have in the past. And you may have heard the state legislators talk about potentially giving even more of that back to the municipalities, but that is a locked in number. That number's not going to change. It is not discretionary. It is an allocation, not just to Trenton, but every municipality receives a portion of the energy receipts tax. Capital City Aid has been a budgetary line item for the last several years. Our mayor was able to bring that back once he took office. It had been dormant for some time since Chris Christie took over. Theoretically, I suppose that could change, but we don't expect it to be. It is not a competitive pool like the transition aid. It is simply a line item allocation in the state's budget for the city of Trenton for $10 million.
Thank you. And just for clarity, the transition aid that we received when Corzine was in office was over 20 million more than we got last year, and still is more than what we're asking for this year, correct?
We didn't get transition aid when Corzine was in office. That we were just receiving capital city aid. The city at the time was not required to apply through the transition aid program. We just, in recognition of being the capital city, received at its height about 40 plus million, 45 maybe, but it's somewhat misleading. There were other forms of state aid around at that time that are no longer around. So our total aid package would have been higher, but through different sources.
Okay, thank you. And then one final question. With regard to the library budget of 2.55 million, is that only to be applied to our one existing functioning library and maintenance, or can that any of that be applied to some of our libraries that we'd like to get up and running again, or become community centers or what have you that are no longer functioning?
So it wouldn't apply to something that was a building that we wanted to turn into a community center. It is somewhat, the city doesn't receive that money. The city just has the tax authority. So we collect taxes on behalf of the school district. We collect taxes on behalf of the library. We transmit those funds to those entities. So it could be used by the library to do anything within their remit, but that decision is made by the library itself. We just have a formula that instructs us what to collect. We send out the tax bills because the government is the entity that has that authority, and then we transmit that money to the library. So,
Thank you for that. Thank you.
of course.
Council President.
Councilman Gonzalez.
Good evening, Mr. Cherry. So I see that we said that we're going to have an increase of 2%, right? Then it
Correct.
says a decrease with the tax levy, which includes, our school and our libraries. I'm just want to know, like, how are we decreasing that when we're increasing the regular municipal tax?
So the best way I can describe this is the rate is the percentage you pay. The levy is the total amount of money that we collect.
Gotcha.
So the rate is going up, but we lost, as I said, somewhere between $45 and $48 million worth of tax ratables. So essentially sources of taxable income. And that happens because sometimes properties are purchased by nonprofits or other non-taxable entities. Sometimes they are appealed. So you may not like your valuation. So you go to the county and you say, hey, my property is actually worth less than the city says it is. Sometimes those are successful, or just changes in the property. So the valuation changes. So what we're saying is the rate you're going to pay if your property stayed the same will go up by 2%. However, the total value of properties that we're collecting taxes from has decreased. So our total levy has decreased very slightly. It's only, about $20,000 or so, but it was a decrease.
Okay. Thank you. So is there any way, and it may actually be in a book, and I probably need to just actually dig through it, but I was going to say a breakdown of what portion is going towards the schools versus the library versus schools, so that way
Yes, those are
like which one is increasing, which one is like decreasing? Are they split evenly? Like
those, we can get you those data, but just to be clear, that's not discretionary. There's just a formula. As I said, we don't get that money. We don't determine anything about that money. We just have an order that essentially says, the county says, hey, you got to collect this much for your school. You got to collect this much for your libraries. And we transmit the bills, collect the money, and then send it to them. Obviously, before the change in type of school district, there was a different relationship there, but now the city doesn't actually have anything to do with the school district. We just collect the money, give it to them, and they spend it as they see fit.
so we're decreasing the amount that we're giving to the school system.
No, the amount we're collecting is essentially unchanged.
Okay.
It's just that the city no longer has any decision-making relationship with the school board. They are now elected and independent. So we just collect the money and we pass it through to the school district.
Thank you for clarifying that. Thank you, Council President, for right now. Sorry.
Thank you.
I get something else in a second.
Councilman, thank you.
Council Vice President Williams.
Hi, Mr. Cherry.
Good.
Thanks for presenting this tonight. It's great
Always.
information, very important. Just had a couple quick questions regarding debt service,
Mhm.
which I know requested 18/2/11, et cetera. So likely the debt was originally issued when interest rates were more favorable. But are there any ways, because I do get asked this by seniors all the time, are there any ways to try to reduce our debt service by maybe paying off some of the bonds that were previously released if they're down to a certain level. So we get that part of the budget down a bit more than it was. We'll look at ways we can improve our servicing. But then also with shared services, I know it's something we're getting more into all the time, which is really good. And that will actually produce savings over time, even if that number goes up. So if you could speak to those two numbers, if we're looking at more shared services going forward and where, and then also what we can do to reduce our debt service.
Of course. So the debt service, you all may recall this, in fact, from time to time, you will see a resolution to refinance certain debt. So we have a bond counsel who is kind of always looking for favorable opportunities. There are limits to that, depending upon the terms of the particular debt, the particular bond. It's not that we can just refinance every month. But we have done that where it's available and feasible. We will refinance to receive more favorable interest rates where possible. So that is something we're always on the lookout for. Given the current financial climate, I'm not sure we'll see effective savings in the near term, but if it becomes feasible, it is something that we're always on the lookout for. Our bond counsel is always on the lookout for. Regarding shared service agreements, council just approved shared service agreement, I want to say a couple meetings ago. We are always aggressively looking. It can be challenging just because the city of Trenton we're a pretty substantial municipality. So it's often hard to find great shared services with other municipalities that are near us, but where possible, we do look for them. The relationship we have with the county that was just recently approved regarding recycling and things like that has been helpful. It's been going on for a long time. We just keep re-upping it. And where possible and where feasible, we continue to look. So we're certainly open to suggestions from council or ideas you may have, but we're always on the lookout for creative solutions to our problems, including shared service agreements.
Thank you, because I know early on in 23, we actually worked out an agreement with Hamilton regarding sharing a gas and pipe inspector because we were desperate, they were desperate.
Yes.
But I would like to, and I know my colleagues have all asked about this before, increasing the number of inspectors, particularly for homes and apartments that are rented. It's a tragedy in the city how many people have to live in decrepit conditions, and a lot of times it is because we haven't had the wherewithal, or DCA hasn't sent inspectors who really went over with a white glove to make sure people were living safely. Thank you. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you so much. And seeing no more questions, thank you so much, Mr. Cherry.
Thank you.
Mr. Garcia, we can proceed.
Certainly, Madam President, at this time, I do see there is a resolution here. If you would like to vote, if you would like me to introduce the resolution and vote on it now, or would you like to include that with the remainder of the resolutions on the docket?
Let's include it with the remainder of resolutions on the docket, please.
Understood.
Move forward.
Moving on, we will move to public comment for agenda items only. If I have the clipboard for agenda items only and to the public comment for agenda items only will be 5 minutes for each individual. You may address any item on the docket or agenda that you wish. And the council is not obligated to respond. Please state your name and address for the record. The first individual listed is Robin Vaughn.
Robin Vaughn, 1100 Stuyvesant Avenue. I just want to quickly speak to resolutions 26-136, 137, 138. Can I speak to the ordinance as well or no? Okay. Ordinance 26024, the Ajax management. I just want to say that as a taxpayer of the city, I don't know whether the council's redevelopment attorney was in-house to hear the designated redevelopers' comments, but I hope you guys engage your redevelopment attorney. I am very familiar with Ajax and its long history in Trenton and the lack of compliance or delivery on his community givebacks on his redevelopment agreements. He has received substantial tax abatements and pilots and just have not, the city of Trenton has not realized any benefit from that particular developer. He is a bad actor. I remember in 2018, if you all remember, the Trenton YMCA was renamed the Capital City YMCA. And that was one of his projects, okay? He has constantly, you heard him, he berates Trenton. He talked about 90,000 residents here. He has not hired any of the projects. I just want to recommend that the council do your due diligence, consult the law department. We should pull, as a city, every single redevelopment agreement that the city of Trenton has entered with Ajax Management and all of his LLCs to see where he has delivered on his terms of agreement, his obligations. It was very ironic that he mentioned that Interstate Corporation is not paying sufficient taxes. Well, ask him how much taxes have he paid to date on all his redevelopment projects, okay? Many of his projects, he doesn't even provide his own capital. He sources NJEDA, DCA, grants. And someone asked about the parking. I just wanted you guys to expound on that. He said he's building these market rate apartments. He built one on Tyler Street. Ask how's that doing? Has he delivered his taxes on that, or did he go back to DCA and ask for an extension on a pilot, right? Tyler Street, probably. I think it was a watch company that he renovated. So on the parking, he says, oh, I'm going to provide parking. Well, I believe in redevelopment agreements, you should ask for every apartment, how many spaces will be allocated, right? If he's saying 200 apartments, is it going to be a parking space per unit? Or is it going to be 2 parking spaces per unit? So he's very disingenuous. So in my opinion, if a redeveloper is going to be a true partner with the city or any city, he should have came to this microphone and told us what a great relationship he has had with the city of Trenton over the past 18 years. With all his contributions to the city, what has he delivered? Did he invest in our parks? Did he did he purchase a pool for us? Did he invest in our education system? Did he develop recreation programs for our children, after school programs? What has he done? But he sat here and said everything that the city of Trenton didn't do. So he's the redeveloper. He has an obligation. When we give them pilots, tax abatements, tax reduction, they're supposed to give us community givebacks. They're supposed to be good partners instead of a bad actor. He built a house up in our most prestigious neighborhood in Hiltonia on Stanley Avenue. I believe he recently sold it. That's what he does. He comes in, build, flips, get what he can get and leave, okay? That's what he does. He has a history of that. Pull his redevelopment agreements and see, has he complied and had any of his obligations to see if he's in compliance and delivering those community givebacks for all of the tax abatements we gave him. Interstate is not the only company that may not be paying taxes. I bet you Ajax hasn't paid any taxes to the city of Trenton on any of his projects, okay? So do your due diligence, consult the law department, pull all his redevelopment agreements and see what you see, okay? Just don't say, oh, he's a nice guy, okay? So, for now.
Mark Gibson. Very well. Max, I'm sorry, is that Hayden? Okay. Mary Horn?
Good evening, Mary Horn, 870 Parkside Avenue. Just want to first say that I want vacant here in our city. I believe that we should focus more on trying to get people in those properties, get grants, let people help the people fix up the properties, and so that they can purchase them at a fair price. Because I'm seeing a lot of houses going for like $5,000, but we're just giving away the city, most of it. So as far as the eminent domain is concerned, we have a bill at the state level, A725. Now, they created a 14-point checklist. Most of it is criminalizing poverty. That's what I call it. You may have a broken window, high grass. We already know that some of these are violations, so if inspection comes out, you know, and give you a notice, that's the way it should go. But you just don't go and take people's properties and create a whole 14-point checklist, adding on to what we have already. Taking people's homes. And as I always will say before, the seniors are suffering the worst because they may not have anyone to help them out with that. So eminent domain, let's just try to fund our, give grants out and help the people in the city, the taxpayers, and help them get in some of these vacant homes. And I just want to talk about the safety issue of it. The project that's at West State and Prospect Street, we're looking to acquire $300,000 to complete. Not, or has the city asked for, tried to acquire a grant from the New Jersey Department of Transportation? Because there's money and there's funds for that. Although right now we're in the closing phase of April, but we still have a chance to ask for the monies in 2027. And even if the monies are paid out of taxpayers' dollars, then we can still ask to acquire those funds to recoup those funds to get them back. So I just want to know if we're doing any of that. Number three, I'm sorry about that. Safety. I'd like to know where we're at with the crossing guards. I see where I did some research where some funding has been put back into for the safety. But I'd like to know, we have 60 positions that were available, over 100 people applied. So I'd like to know where we're at with that. Please, it's a matter of safety, because right now it's being said that, you know, we have police at the West State and Prospect when the kids are going to school and coming from school, but we want that all day, every day, 5 days a week when the kids are going to school, coming from school. We've asked that, we used to have it. It appears we don't have it anymore, and it is a safety issue. So that's all I have to say right now as far as that's on that subject. Thank you very much.
Jillian Wall.
Good evening, council members and member of the public. This is my name is Jillian Wall of Concord Avenue, Ewing. This is my first time addressing council, and it's been an absolute pleasure. I thank you so much for the job that you're doing, and the format. I just have really appreciated being a part of this community, and this being my first address in preparation for a public address that's coming up on April 21st. The ordinances that, the agenda items that I'm speaking to all align with our group's priorities. Our group is IBB Global, and I'm speaking with regard to Safe Streets for All, presented by Lisa Sarisol. Did I pronounce the name correctly? And presentation by Director Matt Burgess on the redevelopment project, and also the wonderful update that we heard from Colin Sherry with regard to the approval of the budget. The first thing, I'll just want to touch on that. There's only going to be one item that's probably going to affect the completion of that in time, is because we're not yet in it. So we want to make sure that we actually spend some time to share how we can be part to contribute and also help save costs and also address some of the initiatives. What I wanted to share with regard to all three of those items is, and also Matt Burgess referred to it, there is a leadership deficit and infrastructural issues, not just with regard to Trenton. A lot of the issues that Trenton actually faces are globally. And the city of Trenton, I have to say that comparatively, because I actually am Caribbean rooted, US based and globally engaged, you are doing an exceptional job. The leadership deficits, the governance issues that you face, the labor issues that you face are all issues affected post-global financial crisis, post-global pandemic, and now AI disruption. I would like to speak with regard to the Safe Cities for All. I heard some challenges with regards to reporting. So in preparation for my presentation on April 21st, I wanted to also ask the council, is there a process for each of these items? Do I need to submit something ahead of time? Because some of the tracking and measuring and issues with regard to reporting that were mentioned and collaboration with the public, there are some cost-effective platforms, apps, technology that would do a great job in supporting that initiative. That initiative is also very well aligned with our group's social impact initiatives and development priorities. It's SDG aligned. The UN Sustainable Development Goals are not just the part of the UN. They really are global priorities. There are issues affecting many cities, and you're engaged in a lot of initiatives that are addressing these. I just wanted to share that there are opportunities for more improved tracking engagement of the public to assist with that. Likewise with the redevelopment initiatives. Matt Burgess, am I going too quickly? I know I only have 5 minutes. Matt Burgess also spoke about his redevelopment initiatives, and he spoke about the AI disruption and them doing their part with regard to contributing to employment, jobs. Some of our initiatives are very focused on jobs and employment. The disruption that he spoke about and their group's contribution to employment, I would like to find out a little bit more about that. Is this being tracked? Is it being measured? As you look at the redevelopment initiatives across Trenton, I would like to find out a little bit more about what's the process in engaging contractors and hearing the initiatives and tracking from any Robin Vaughan actually mentioned that, where they get tax breaks, incentives. Are you looking at the return on your contribution? And likewise, how are you effectively tracking the returns on their projects? We have some approaches that are being utilized in different markets to more effectively track and measure the impact of the support that you provide to contractors, the incentives, and also the initiatives that they actually deploy. So I wanted to also touch on that. I thought each of the updates today were actually exceptional, very clear, and that's from each time that I've presented. I thought I was pretty consistent. I think I don't want to use up too much of my time. I do have a presentation coming on April 21st, so I will actually submit to the council. I just wanted to get your feedback on any concerns with regard to all three of those. Thank you.
Kathleen Deal.
Good evening, Council. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. I am talking about the Ajax project. Mr. Brenna mentioned in his statements that he has a commitment to the future residents of our city. Well, I think there's a commitment to our current residents of our city that needs to be addressed as the foremost obligation. I understand that he's angry that this agreement that he had with the city back in 2008 fell through. I'm angry as a constituent as well. My agreement as a taxpayer means that I should be getting my amenities taken care of by the city. There's no enforcement. There's no follow through. The city fails on meeting the needs to improve my quality of life on a regular basis. So I understand Mr. Brenna's frustration in the breach of contract between him and the city, but also understand that in 2008, MySpace existed. In 2008, everybody had flip phones. The world today is not the same world that it was in 2008. So any agreement with Mr. Brenna should be revisited, rewritten, all future designs should be revisited because we're not the same city we were in 2008. So moving forward the same contract from 2008 does not make sense. Moving eminent domain into the playing field, when we look at eminent domain's purpose is for the good of the public, not the good of private entities. And I encourage this body to look up Long Branch and Long Branch's precedents when it comes to eminent domain. There are significant repercussions for municipalities that go into eminent domain agreements with developers. I encourage this body to compare Long Branch with eminent domain to research what that could mean to us as a city. But I understand his frustration. It is unfortunate that the agreements that he had put forth did not go through. But we are no longer the same nation. We are no longer have the same industries. We no longer have the same technology. And nothing that was set forth in 2008 should move forward today without being revisited. A comment that I sent out to my neighborhood regarding this project was I basically said, although we haven't seen the full plan, any redevelopment that occurs at that intersection should also require the developer to address the traffic issues there. As the Complete Streets team noted, I don't know if you paid attention, but the streets they highlighted as high injury network corridors is where his development is. Every single one of all of his intersections is in that high injury network corridor that was presented by the Safe Streets team. So understand, a person was killed 2 weeks ago on that block, and there's been 4 deaths in that strip in the past year. So we need to make sure that we are focusing on the residents that live in the city currently and not about these projected possible residents with no future obligation to move there as of yet as the priority of the projects for this council. And I also want to just note, if there's 300 units going in and 600 new cars going in and out of Market Street, Greenwood, Clinton, coming back and forth from the high school, what's our infrastructure plan for that? What's our infrastructure for road maintenance? What's our infrastructure for trash increase? What's our infrastructure for the education plan for each of those residents who has children going into the school system? We haven't thought this out. And it's unfortunate that Mr. Brenna has lost this opportunity to date. But to move this project forward without redeveloping the plan and without reviewing the impact study on the community is a failure of this body. Thank you.
Madam President, those are all the individuals I have for public comment for agenda items only. Yes.
Yes.
No, ma'am. I'm
Let's
sorry.
proceed, please.
Were you on the other one? Oh, no. If there's a matter you'd like to address, feel free. Wait, hold on a second. I don't want to free for all now. Hold on.
Ms. Stain, were you speaking to agenda items? Please.
I'm sorry.
Please.
Mike.
Good afternoon, Cordelia Staten, 310 Gardner Avenue. Good evening, distinguished council members. First, I'm going to start out with a little story about the Jaquinto family. So one of the members of the Jaquinto family is judicial judge. And so years ago, I went before him and I got off on a parking ticket. So I used to go to DeSantis for my shoes. He lived on Spring Street. But once I stood before Judge Diaquinto, I started going to his his family's place too. They're a really good family, and I'm glad they were recognized. They've been here a very, very long time. I want to speak to Resolution 139, which is the reappointment of Simon Lopez to the Trenton Housing Authority. Unfortunately, due to work commitment, Commissioner Simon couldn't be here this evening, but I've had the pleasure of working with him since I've been on the board, and I will tell you that he is such an asset. He came on, we have developed standing committees, we have developed, we're looking at revising personnel policies and things like that. He's just a really go-getter, and I'm hoping that this board will look favorably on his reappointment. Back in the day when there were reappointments, people would come up and speak because you need to know what's happening, right? You know, someone wants to be reappointed, but you want to know how well they're doing, right? And so I said, well, maybe I'll be the first to get it started back again because that's something that usually happens. The Housing Authority is doing really great things, and Simon is an asset to the board. Lastly, I wanted to say about this is not a docket item. This is about these meetings. These meetings have run too long. It's almost 7:30, 8 o'clock. You know, I would really ask this council to reconsider reinstating your workshops for presentations because people come from work and they really have something to say, but they can't wait for 2 hours to, you know, say what they need to say. Please, when you're having more than 2 presentations, please consider having a workshop on Thursday, so that you can get that out the way and the people have an opportunity to speak and not be inconvenienced. Thank you.
Okay, Madam President, at this time, I believe those are all the individuals that I have for public comment for agenda items only. At this time, if you want to ask for, if you want to ask for a motion to approve the minutes of February 3rd and February 17th, 2026.
May we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano.
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee. Oh, understood. Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Vice President Williams. Understood. And Council President Figueroa Kettenberg.
Yes.
Motion carried. And Madam President, if you want to ask for a motion to approve communications, petitions, and reports.
May we have a motion to approve communications, petitions, and reports?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano.
Yes.
Councilwoman, I'll call it. Councilwoman Frisbee? No. Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison?
Yes.
Council President Figueroa Kettenberg.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. And that brings us to old business ordinances for second reading and public hearing. Ordinance 26-027, ordinance amending ordinance 25-82, authorizing the sale of city-owned property commonly known as 519 North Clinton Avenue and identified on the city tax map as block 21705, lot 25 pursuant to NJSA 481213C to Maciel Valdez Garcia for the sale price of $5,000. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak to this ordinance at this time? Seeing none, Madam President, if you want to ask for a motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano. Councilwoman, back? No. Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Vice President Williams. Sorry. Council President Figueroa Kettenberg.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 26-29, ordinance authorizing the acceptance of property identified on the city tax map, formerly part of Block 3901, Lot 48, pursuant to NJSA 481213B5 to New Jersey Economic Development Authority, the NJEDA, for no consideration. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak to this ordinance at this time? Robin Vaughn.
Hi, Robin Vaughn. I just want some information on this particular ordinance. So I don't understand what it means when the state is giving us land. Is that, and it says with no consideration. Does that mean that, what's the impact to the Trenton's taxpayer? You know, they're giving us land to do what? Are we going to be responsibility for the maintenance, the cost? Does that come on Trentonians taxpayers? Trenton taxpayers? What does this mean, and what is the intent and purpose of this property that the city is retrieving or getting from the state of New Jersey by its Economic Development Authority? What is the purpose that land is going to be used for? Is there anybody here in the Housing Economic Development Department that can speak to that? What is the purpose, intent, and the impact to Trenton taxpayers as we take on this land? That's it. Thank you.
Are there any other members of the public that wish to speak to this ordinance at this time? Seeing none, Madam President, if you want to ask for a motion to approve.
Yeah.
No, Mr. Garcia, can we please have somebody from the administration speak to that?
Understood.
Good evening, Council. Jim Beach, Chief of Staff.
Thank you.
So this ordinance concerns where they're building the maternal health care center up off of North Warren, and I forget what the other side street is. So the piece of land that's being deeded over to the city is a small part of the parking lot that will abut up over at the Reading Senior Center. And so what the state is going to be doing when it opens the maternal health care center is they're going to be shutting off that driveway that runs by the Austin Medical Center. Henry J. Austin, thank you. And so to help us get in and out the driveway that comes in the other way, they're deeding us, and it's a very small spot. It's like 2 cars will fit there for what they're giving us, but that's what they're giving us. So there's no effect to the tax rates at all. It's just simply kind of they're trying to do a good turn for the city because they're closing off that driveway.
Thank you for that clarity, Mr. Beach.
Council President?
Yes.
I have a question. I'm so glad that this came up. Titus Avenue is just one small block. It's not even like a full block over there, right behind where that medical center is going to be built. Right now, it's functioning as a dead-end street because of the construction. And I know that this parcel is going to become city-owned, but is that going to open back up when the construction is done? Are they going to be able to go around or go out in any way?
Is Titus Avenue the dead end that has the cul-de-sac in the back?
It has a
cul-de-sac. That's not going to open up at all. That's going to remain that closed off section.
So it's going to become a dead end street?
I think it is a dead end street if I'm thinking of the right street.
It wasn't a dead end before. Before, when you could go down Titus, that's where some of those housing were built right across from Mount Zion Church.
Right,
It used to be was Our Lady of something.
Sorry, Council, I'm thinking of the wrong street, but I'm not
It's a
familiar
small
with that. Okay.
side street with houses.
Okay.
And you can go back there and you can go to the Reading Center, and that big patch of grass there where they're building the new, state
Correct.
medical center at. You could go in and then you could go around and come out, or you can go out and you can get to North Warren on the side of Henry J. Austin before you get to the next street over. I forget what that street is. Cooper Street? No, it's not Cooper. Something. Or you can go back there by Reading. You can get out. It was never a dead end street. And it's a really tight street with driveways. and there's barely any parking in front of the house because of the garages and driveways. So they need the other side of the street parking, but that leaves no way to do a U-turn to come back out if it's going to be a dead-end street. It's a mess. So I'm hoping that you guys are going to work out that traffic pattern where you can drive through it and not have to reverse and come back out.
I'll have to take a look at it. I'm not familiar with the street you're referring to. I don't believe there were any traffic flow changes.
Right now, there
I've
has been.
seen.
So we can walk through there.
That's fine.
If we can get
Mhm.
Mr. Santora out there and just look so that when you guys start to open that back up and working on a Reading Center and that site, that's considered because they need a way out. That's too small of a street for that to be a dead end.
Certainly something we will consider, Councilman.
All right, thank you.
Council President?
Council Vice President Williams.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilwoman Edwards, for bringing it up. I know that street well. It's about, I believe, 14 homes there, and they deserve to have a safe entryway and exitway. And one of the things, before this project all started, you could easily go out to North Warren. So perhaps, because there is PSC&G lighting along there, so it must be recognized as a formal street in some fashion. Perhaps a small cul-de-sac could be created at the end, so there's a turn, and so people can come back the opposite directions, because they have to park in front of those houses. There's very limited parking, even if they go behind and park on Willow. But if we at least put a cul-de-sac in there, they would have a way to still just use that little bit of Titus. They would have right across the street, if you look out the front of their house, they see the maternity center. And to the right is the Reading Center. So that's where it's looking. You'll find it pretty easy tomorrow when you drive out.
That's fine.
But if a cul-de-sac could be created on their behalf, I think that could help us solve a bit of this.
And again, I'm not familiar, so I'm not
Thank
sure
you.
whether this traffic problem has arisen because of the construction that's being done, because the city itself has taken no action to divert any traffic or change any roads.
It might be something to talk to the developer. Maybe they could provide that.
The state? Yes.
Our favorite friends. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Mr. Beach. We could proceed, Mr. Garcia.
Certainly. I believe those are all there are no other individuals that wish to speak to this ordinance at this time. In that case, Madam President, if you have an answer, a motion to approve.
May we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call. Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano.
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee.
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Vice President Williams.
Yes.
And Council President Figueroa Kevinberg.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 26-30, ordinance authorizing the sale of city-owned property commonly known as 324 Jersey Street and identified on the city tax map as block 18305, lot 9, pursuant to NJSA 481213C to DeAndre Castillo Valdez for the sale price of $10,000. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak to this ordinance at this time? Seeing none, Madam President, if you want to ask for a motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee.
Frisbee's, yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Vice President Williams.
Yes.
Council President Figueroa Kevinberg.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 26-31, ordinance authorizing the sale of city-owned property commonly known as 60 North Stockton Street and identified on the city tax map as block 603, lot 23, pursuant to NJSA 481213C to Marcus Palmer for the sale price of $14,000. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak to this ordinance at this time? Seeing none, Madam President, if you want to ask for a motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee.
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Vice President Williams.
Yes.
And Council President Figueroa Kevinberg.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 26-32, ordinance authorizing the sale of city-owned property commonly known as 120 Genesee Street and identified on city tax map as block 16103, lot 11, pursuant to NJSA 481213C to Silver Streak 1 LLC for the sale price of $9,500. I'm sorry, are there any members of the public that wish to speak to this ordinance at this time? Seeing none, Madam President, if you want to ask for a motion to approve.
May we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
037 was pulled by administration some time ago.
Mr. Garcia, can we proceed? We're not going back and forth on the dais.
Understood.
Thank you. Thank you.
Are there any members of the public that wish to speak to this ordinance at this time? Seeing none, Madam President, if you want to ask for a motion to approve.
May we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Roll call. Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee.
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Vice President Williams.
Yes.
Council President Figueroa Kettenberg.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 26-33, ordinance authorizing the sale of city-owned property commonly known as 829 and 833 Stuyvesant Avenue and identified on the city tax map as block 6401, lots 17 and 15 pursuant to NJSA 481213C to Gajraj Acquisitions LLC for the sale price of $30,000. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak to this ordinance at this time?
Yep. Turn the light on. Turn the
Yes.
mic on. There you go. Thank you.
Good morning again, council members. My name is Ashish Singh, and I'm here with my wife, Anne. First of all, we appreciate council's time and opportunity to be heard here today. We purchased 831 Stuyvesant Avenue in the West Ward. In December of 2024, we completed a full cut rehab and immediately placed a Section 8 tenant, a woman with her disabled teenage child, into a safe, code-compliant unit. Adjacent to the 831 Stuyvesant Avenue, which we own, is 829 and 833 Stuyvesant Avenue, which is, and 833 is directly attached to our property. And both of them share common alleyway, share common wall, roof, front porch, and the roof on 833 Stuyvesant is actively collapsing. Front and rear porches are structurally failing. Approximately half of the attic level has no exterior wall, exposing our property and our tenant into elements and creating ongoing structural and installation compromise. The condition of 833 Stuyvesant constitutes a direct and ongoing threat to the structural integrity, as I said, into our property, and of particular urgency is our current tenant and a disabled individual living in that unit. In the building, sorry. And the proximity of the structural collapsing shared wall building combined with an open, unsecured backyard, which has multiple times invited unauthorized occupancy, has created a living environment that falls well below the habitability and safe standards. So our proposal, what we are seeking is not for city to solve the problem, but we are asking to be permitted to solve ourselves at our own expense with our own licensed professionals under full municipal oversight. We have a total private capital contribution towards rehabbing both the units north of $220,000. If we are approved, and upon approval, we'll bring both properties to full habitability, code compliance, and productive tax generating status. These are not the properties the city can easily sell in an open market, and so they are liabilities on city's books and hazard to the block. We're offering to convert that liability into an asset. We submitted our application in October of last year. The structural deterioration of 833 Stuyvesant has not passed while we waited for this hearing. Every week that passes increases the risk of physical damage to the subject property, and more importantly, the safety of the tenant who trusts city's housing system, trusts us to provide them with a safe home. So we're asking City Council respectfully for a favorable vote today. We have credentials, capitals, and licensed professionals. I myself, I'm a licensed general contractor, and we will provide the commitment to execute immediately. The plans are ready, our architectural drawings our architects are ready, the funds are available, the team is in place. Thank you so much for your time.
You're the proposed purchaser for this?
We are.
Okay.
Yeah, we are.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay.
Of course.
Yes. You may proceed, Brent.
Certainly, Madam President. This would, excuse me. Are there any other members of the public that wish to speak to this ordinance at this time? Seeing none, if you want to ask for a motion to approve.
May we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Got it?
Sorry.
Roll call. Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano.
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee.
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Vice President Williams.
Yes.
And Council President Figueroa Kettner.
Yes, congratulations.
Motion carried. Ordinance 26-34, ordinance authorizing the sale of city-owned property commonly known as 140 Home Avenue and identified on the city tax map as Block 17301, Lot 4, pursuant to NJSA 481213C, to Regalisa Holdings LLC for the sale price of $20,000. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak to this ordinance at this time? Yes, sir.
Good evening, council members. My name is Gabriel Cubena. I am the owner of Regalisa Holdings LLC. Yeah, better. I am the owner of Regalisa Holdings LLC. I just wanted to take a brief opportunity to introduce myself to you all and to thank you for the opportunity and the consideration. I am one of my other companies is a fully licensed general contracting company. So we have the experience and the staff to be able to complete a full rehab of this property. Further to that, I've been a resident of Trenton, or was a resident of Trenton for a long time, and the majority of my employees are based in Trenton. We certainly try to prioritize really everything we do, from our material acquisition to how we employ our staff within the city. So again, just thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Are there any other members of the public that wish to speak to this ordinance at this time? Seeing none, Madam President, if you want to ask for a motion to approve.
May we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano.
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee.
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Vice President Williams.
Yes.
Council President Figueroa Kettner.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 26-35, ordinance authorizing the sale of city-owned property commonly known as 33 South Cook Avenue and identified on the city tax map as Block 26504, Lot 2, pursuant to NJSA 481213B5 to Maria Carrion Takuri for the sale price of $3,000. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak to this ordinance at this time? Seeing none, Madam President, if you want to ask for a motion to approve.
May we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano.
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee.
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Vice President Williams.
Yes.
And Council President Figueroa Kettner.
Yes.
Motion carried. Madam President, it brings us to resolutions. Are there any resolutions that you or the council wish to extract for questions
Thank
or
you.
from a potential consent agenda this evening?
Thank you so much.
Council President,
Yes,
Council
Council
President.
Feliciano.
26-1-23. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, anyone else?
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee?
Yes. One quick moment. And I have the wrong one.
I'll come back to you. Oh, you did?
Yeah, it's just on this one. Yeah, resolution 26-128.
Mm-hmm.
And resolution 26-133. And yeah, that's it. Yes.
Thank you so much. Anyone else?
Madam President,
Councilman Edwards?
Resolution 26-127.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, seeing none, we can proceed. First up, Councilwoman Feliciano, 26123.
Thank you, Council President. Good evening.
Good evening. Maria Richardson, Business Administrator.
So I just have a couple of, I just have a couple of quick questions. Since we're making appropriations for things, where are we with the floors for Engine 6 for the fire department? I had sent several emails and had asked and circled back several times about it to find out where the administration is with regards to getting something done with that fire station. So where are we with funds for that?
Well, I have to explain a little bit what the situation is at the present time, right? I think in one of my early emails, I think it was to you and the mayor. We were talking about a request for a change order.
Yes.
Originally. And I said, we could not do a change order that is over 20% of the original contract.
Right.
So my recommendation at the time was to rebid the project and identify the source of funding for the additional work that needed to be there. The situation at the present time is a lot worse than that. It's different. I was made aware this morning during director's meeting that the firehouse has been flooded for several weeks. And it was as a result of a house two houses over. That house was, the water was continuously running. I'm not sure if the house was occupied or not, but it's a rental owned by one of our irresponsible landlords. And so the team from the water department, from sewer and inspections and fire department went there and TPW went to the firehouse about a week ago and determined that there are considerable damages to the foundation of the building. So the recommendation from the city engineer was to complete a different assessment to make sure that there are not structural damages to the foundation of the building. So that makes the situation a lot more critical than it was before. So I heard this morning that we will have most likely a report from the structural engineers that are looking into it within the next 2 weeks. So hopefully for the next council meeting, I will have additional information of what the situation looks like there.
Okay. Thank you for that. Okay, and then my next question is, I know that there was a request for body cams for our parking enforcement officers, and I had followed up on that asking what the city was going to do about it, because we had an employee that actually was assaulted not once but twice while she was on the job.
The waiver was approved already.
Oh, it was approved?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. When was that approved?
Probably a week ago. Yes, last week.
Last week?
Correct.
Okay. Because I know I had sent an email to the mayor and administration asking what will it take? What are you going to do with concerning the waiver and everything? So it's nice to know that something actually was done. Had the administration reached out to DC about it? Like, what made the waiver now be signed?
The mayor reached out to DCA.
Okay, thank you. There was no follow-up with me to let me know that when I asked the question.
Okay.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Glad to know that we're working on it. The last question I have for you is, since we're talking about money and moving things, how long is it typically custom for a director to sit in an acting position?
Good question.
Interim director. How long? Thank you.
I don't know.
So
to my recollection, right, an interim director has two opportunities of 90 days each.
And so 90 days.
But I really don't have the ordinance to that effect, so I think that's what it is.
Okay, so 2 tours at 90 days
correct
each, right? And
Yes.
so with those tours, it would come before council once the 90 days is up.
Yes, after the 90 days, it should come before council again for your approval. But don't take me to jail if that information is not correct. Allow me some time to look into it, but I think that is the.
And who's the person who is responsible to bring that to the council, the 90 days? Once the 90 days is up, who prepares that? Is that coming from the mayor's office? Is it coming from administration? Who's
Probably should come from administration since directors report to administration. So I will look into it and I will give you a more solid response once I talk to Wes and do the research.
I was gonna say, well, can't Director Bridges just tell us? So thank you so much, B.A. Richardson. Director Bridges, can you tell us how long can an interim director stay an interim director?
Two periods of 90 days.
2 periods of 90 days.
Correct.
Okay. So it's been a while now. A long while. Thank you, B.A. Richardson. I appreciate you. Consent.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I stay here for
Department
the
of
rest.
Finance, 26127, Councilwoman Edwards.
Hi, Mr. Cherry. Or Ms.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Would you mind just briefly explaining what this cash management plan is for the deposit and investment of public funds for the public's understanding, please?
Yes, we are currently investing in a state fund that we've been using for many, many years. It's a short-term investment fund, sort of when revenue comes in, we place it into this, almost like someone would utilize a bank account, and then we spend the money out of there. Does that answer the question?
A bit. So where are we in terms of staffing capacity for the finance department and purchasing and anything that would involve this cash management plan?
Our staffing levels are good, but just to be clear, purchasing wouldn't have anything to do with this. It's just kind of when revenue comes in. So, for example, a tax bill is paid. We receive those taxes. They go into this investment account, and we spend from that. So it's just a holding pen for the funds until they're needed, so that we're earning some amount of money on them while they are there. But our staffing levels, obviously, there are a couple of vacancies in finance, including the director, obviously. But we are the treasurer. Mary Henry is the individual who directs this particular portion of finance, and I don't think that there are any challenges in staffing regarding the cash management plan.
So even with the director of finance, there's no concern there? Because there hasn't been a director of finance for quite some time, correct?
We are certainly concerned about and actively pursuing finding a director of finance. The vacancy in the director of finance just would not be likely to impact this particular thing. The treasurer manages this portion of our funds, and has been doing so for a long time. And this investment fund is a state managed investment fund that the city of Trenton has used as our holding pen for funds for many decades,
Okay.
certainly before I got here.
And what are the other vacancies in that department?
I don't have them off the top of my head, but we may have, I think we want to say a couple clerks, maybe one accountant position, and I think a cashier.
And so who oversees the treasurer?
Currently the CFO, and the business administrator is the acting finance director.
Okay. Thank you.
Of course.
Consent?
Consent.
Thank you. Moving on, HUD Department, Interim Director Yolanda Vasquez. Councilwoman Frisbee has a question for 26128. Excuse, I'm sorry. What? No, this isn't the time. Thank you.
Good evening, Yolanda Vasquez, Interim Director of Housing and Economic Development.
Good evening, Director Vasquez. So it's the same question, my other ones. So this entity is withdrawing. They no longer want the property, so they're withdrawing their application. My question is, have we identified or do we know who previously bid on this? Am I not reading this properly? 26-128?
That's for escrow reimbursement.
I'm on the wrong one. I apologize. I'm good on that one, yes.
Consent? Thank
Yes,
you.
it's consent, yes.
Okay, Director Simple, Department of Water and Sewer, Councilwoman Frisbee, you have a question for 26133.
Yes.
Good evening, Director Semple, Trenton Water and Sewer. Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening, Director. So I just have a quick question. How often will this training be going on, and is this training given to everyone?
It's primarily for the utility employees. This field employees is a safety training that is mandated by the state that we have to do every year.
It is
to
every
include
year.
safe driving, how they operate out in the field safely, and how they handle different chemicals and stuff like that.
So it is something that every
Every year.
employees in that they get it, whether they've been there for 5-10 years, they still get that same training again.
Yes.
Okay, all right, that's all. I just want to make sure that it is updated each year. Thank you, sir, and consent.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Mr. Garcia, that is all for resolutions. We can move to consent agenda for that.
Certainly, Madam President. While I was gone, was any items listed for
No.
a roll call vote at all?
Nope,
All right, so there will be no items that require one, correct?
correct.
All right, so then, Madam President, if you want to ask for a motion to approve a consent agenda consisting of resolutions 26-122, 139, 123, 125, 126, 140, 127, 128, 129, 130, 124, 131, 132, 133, 134, 135, 136, 137, and 138.
May we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Thank you, Councilwoman Feliciano.
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee.
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez. Councilman Harrison. Oh, excuse me. Vice President Williams
Yes.
and Council President Figueroa Kettberg.
Yes.
Motion carried. Moving on to ordinances for first reading and introduction. Ordinance 26-024, ordinance authorizing the sale of, I'm sorry, Madam President.
Yes.
I missed one resolution from the beginning of this
Yes.
of this agenda. Could you ask for a motion to approve resolution 26-140?
Yes. Can we please have a motion to approve resolution 26-140?
So second.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards,
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano,
Small for you. It's done.
Councilwoman Frisbee,
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez,
Yes.
Vice President Williams,
Yes.
and Council President Figueroa Kettenberg.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Now, moving on to ordinances for first reading and introduction. Ordinance 26-024, ordinance authorizing the execution of an amendment to disposition agreement and the sale of city-owned properties to Vista Center Development, LLC. Madam President, do you want to ask for a motion to approve?
May we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilwoman Edwards.
I just want to just ask for more information on this. In terms of eminent domain, I think it would be wise for us to seek legal advice from our counsel in terms of that, so that we will have a fully informed decision to vote on. This contract is 19 years old, and this is the very first time we've heard anything in detail in regards to this. And I think that we need time to digest and go through this. I would hate to cause any further delays for the developer, but in terms of just doing our due diligence and making sure we're making an informed decision and not something based off of a council 2 decades ago. I would just appreciate some time to seek legal advice.
Are either of our legal counsel, can either of you speak to this tonight, or would this be a better question for Mr. Malley?
I'm happy to speak to it. I would point out this is the first reading, so there is another reading coming up whereby you can get that information, which is the purpose of the first reading, so we can get you information. I'm happy if you have any specific questions you'd like answered. I'm happy to answer them now.
Okay. Does that satisfy you at this time, Councilwoman Edwards, that this is first reading and there will be a second reading for this?
Yes, that's satisfactory.
Thank you. We can look into having a conversation with Mr. Malley about this. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes. Mr. Garcia, can you proceed?
Yes is my vote.
Certainly. So at this time, I'm moving forward with a vote, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. Councilwoman Councilwoman Edwards, is that a yes?
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano. Oops. Councilwoman Frisbee.
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Vice President Williams.
Abstain?
Noted. And Council President Figueroa Kettenberg.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 26-36, ordinance rescinding the sale of city-owned property commonly known as 44 Boudinot Street and identified on the city tax map as block 2602, lot 22 to Uwe Trivetti. And Madam President, if you want to ask for a motion to approve.
May we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano. Thank you. Councilwoman Frisbee.
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Vice President Williams.
Yes.
Council President Figueroa Kettenberg.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Mr.
Excuse me.
Garcia, before we proceed, I just want to make a quick statement to my colleagues. It was brought to my attention earlier today that I sent the questions and answers to docket review very late this morning, in fact. And I just wanted to let you all know that I will do my best that does not happen again. I want you guys to be prepared for the meetings.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. And moving on, I believe we reached the point of public comment. If I could have the public comment clipboard, please. To the public comment will be 5 minutes for each individual. You may address any matter that you wish. The council is not obligated to respond. Please state your name and address for the record. Madam President, we have what appears to be 12 people listed for public comment at this time. It appears. Okay.
Okay, let's proceed.
10, you said? Oh, I'm sorry, it's 10. First individual listed is Frank Cusack.
Good evening, Frank Cusack, 340 Thrupp Avenue, Hamilton. Speaking for the Coalition for Healthy Water, I'm actually here to discuss an OPRA request that I initiated back on February 27th, 2026, number 26-405. Requesting a copy of the full contract between Reftelis and the City of Trenton under 2024-04. as well as all pages of the completed water rate study. On March 10th, a 7-day extension was requested by the city, which was fair as that was right after the blizzard that we had. Then March 19th, another extension was requested by the city. Then again on March 30th, that is now 3 extensions for what should be easily pulled from record. From other members of the community, this seems to actually be the MO when it comes to OPRA requests from the city to consistently stall and stall and stall and stall and then just say, nope, we don't have it. To give some context to my frustration, the same day, February 27th, 2026, I initiated an OPRA request with the town of Hamilton for the 2025 water bills for the fire hydrants in 5 districts in Hamilton that are owned and operated by Trenton Waterworks. After one extension, same extension received on March 10th for the weather. Hamilton provided all of the water bills between Trenton Waterworks and Hamilton for 2025, as well as the current agreement and service areas. This was all completed within 2 weeks, while I am currently waiting over a month, like I said, to receive any response other than please more time. I know that OPRA requests and FOIA requests can be, not a free-for-all for information. It's just confusing why there would be a security risk in a contract and rate study when that should be openly available to the public. Thank you.
Elnora Alexander. Deandre Castillo. Jillian Wall. Victoria Rosari. Oh, I'm sorry.
Good evening again. My comment is with regard to Ordinance 26-024. I mentioned it brief earlier when Director Burgess spoke. I think in light of the, where are my notes just now? I'm going to my notes. I'm going to repeat again that some of the notes that I had here, I think the project did have noble intent. It appeared to be thoughtful redevelopment, sustainable, with green initiatives. I think Director Burgess spoke to some of it, but I think some of the concerns also shared here today, and I would also support, is that when the city is actually amending a disposition agreement and selling public land, I think the only concern is, and I may be a bit behind, a need for greater transparency, given that it's a matter that's been pending since 2008. What protections are put in place if the project is actually stalled again? I'm not sure that we actually heard that. How the deal advances, I mentioned that earlier. How specifically does the deal advance housing, jobs, and long-term neighborhood stability? I think those are the only concerns, and I don't know how much of that can be presented today. And I think those are some of the issues to be revisited with that project. But I think for the most part, I think it's just clarity the public may be seeking. And again, I think there are a lot of opportunities to further look at the transparent reporting on projects like this, especially as it impacts the public. I think collaboration, I think more public consultation. So I'm not sure how much, because I'm new, and these are some of the projects that I had notes of. And the thing that keeps coming up is governance, transparency, tracking, reporting, accountability. And I think a public platform that more effectively tracks all of this, not just meeting notes, but that actually looks at the city's agenda, redevelopment agenda, the parties and across public, private, and civil society contributing to that and actually tracking and measuring the impact of their contribution. And I think that's what's actually absent here. I don't think it's a matter of negligence. I just think with all of the initiatives, it's just a lot. And we need more clarity and sort of like a one place for more effective tracking and measuring, especially when you're looking at the disposition of public funds to this scale and job creation and again, in the midst of AI disruption. So that's some of my comment. I did also want to make a comment with regard to, I can't remember the ordinance. I think there's full business with regards to the rejection of the, I think it's Ordinance 26-137. May I? May I? Yes? Is this, yeah? Yeah. The resolution rejecting the compliance, strategic planning, liaison, and management support. I did actually submit some concerns August last year to, I think, President Gonzalez and, former President Gonzalez and Councilwoman Edwards and Brendan Clark were copied in that email August 5th last year. And I would like to revisit some of that again. I'm not surprised that it was rejected. That was anticipated, that it would come in over budget. And I do think there is an opportunity through skills development and support and more public consultation to engage local players with mentorship from best practice global standards. I mean, I'm part of a global network that can assist with actually providing providing some of the support that may be absent, management support that's needed, and also in terms of the strategic planning, compliance related issue. So I'm suggesting a revised approach to that, and I don't know when the bid will actually go back out, but is there an approach? One of the questions that I would like to ask, is there an opportunity to actually provide some guidance and some input before the RFP actually is sent back out to the public? That's one of the suggestions that I would make, rather than just send it right back out, that there may be some level of consultation before it actually is reissued, given that it was rejected and that the bid was not competitive. So I think I'm out of time, but yeah.
Yes. Have no fear, Mr. Osorio is here. Victory Rosari.
Good evening, Mr. Pleasure again. Victor Rosari, 19 Moreland Avenue. I'd like to address a few articles in the paper, and it was fortunate there was two of them in the same paper, and that's was to the 6th, today's paper, or maybe yesterday. First one, I wanted to say something. I looked that up. I looked up at Trenton for the past 26 years. It says here that roughly since 2000, Trenton has evolved from a post-industrial city struggling with significant population loss and urban decay, and a municipality focused on revitalization, population stabilization, and targeted redevelopment. While battling negative perceptions and high crime, the capital city has seen an stabilization in population, growing in over 90,000. It is actively transforming blight areas into affordable housing. And then it says, despite these improvements, the city still faces challenges related to crime, poverty, and aging infrastructure, but it continues to push forward with development aiming to reclaim its historic status as a vibrant industrial commercial hub. And I see that in this e-board. In the previous e-board, we had a strong leadership, and I believe the race for mayor of the city between Ms. Vaughn and Ms. Evans is going to be a good one. I believe there are only two ones qualified to be mayor of this city and take it forward. This man, Gene Boye, he says that he previously wrote an article in the Trentonian, and today his current writing is on discipline and this city's leadership needs. First of all, we need always be better leadership. I don't know where you're gonna get it from, because we've got the same educational system. And then it says that the discipline, and then with the promises that you make and you don't keep, then it provides poverty. Poverty in our areas in East Coast, at least that, is based on the war going Nebo, the drug war of 1973. And the J. Edgar Hoover was, looking for the black messiah and destroying the black community. Now, when it comes to the Puerto Ricans, we like 2 or 3 days ago, I got an email or a text from someone in California, and she was really upset about the conditioning and how Puerto Ricans have been mistreated and how Puerto Rico has been exploited and the Puerto Ricans are a victim of. And I told her that since the 70s, I didn't tell her that part, but I know that was involved. And it's in the 70s until now, Puerto Rico has been used as a platform for drug cartels and criminal homosexuals. Not that homosexuality is a problem, but those who are indulged in the drug trade use that as a blackmail tactic for those who get involved. And this man right here, Orlando Ramos, I think he was shooting for our current Mr. Steve Wilson's position as director, but Doug Palmer was the one that decided that to change going through civil service rank and files to get your leadership in law enforcement. He changes to directors in the police department and the fire department. At the same time, there was an influx of Hispanics in Mercer County, and a lot of them settled here in Trenton, New Jersey. They created a conflict between the African-American community and the Puerto Rican or Hispanic community. So currently what I'm saying is that we at Puerto Rico itself, they should advocate and spearhead the Hispanics in not only America, but the planet Earth or Western Hemisphere, and repeal 11727. Since the items or the so-called drugs that are being exploited or used against the African-American community comes from our lands. And when it comes to doing things legally and politically, there's always a clash between the brown and the black. And then when there's an issue of some kind of a crime need of attention or social services, then we're all one. We all become as one. So then this other person here was Mr. Parker. He attacks, I call it an attack to Ms. Edwards, as he's saying, as despite of all, he's always talking about, at the end he said that if there's a house that's empty before it gets dilapidated or broken down or tore up, sell it before. That's what you've been doing for the longest. I don't know what this man is at, that he doesn't see that the change is happening. But anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Jorge, next person, please.
I'm sorry, Council President. Moving on, we have Robin Vaughn.
Yeah, very quickly, I just wanted to go over the resolutions that I didn't get an opportunity because I spent too much time speaking about these bad actor redevelopers like Ajax. He couldn't go into any other town. New Brunswick would never accept a project from him, never. He only comes to Trenton because he believed it's the path of least resistance. No one will challenge him, right? So resolutions 26-136, Trenton Waterworks, $1 million to a consultant. And I don't hear any of you guys questioning that, considering the challenges that our water utility is facing. And our workers have been, looking for raises and resources, and I don't know what's the status of the frazzle dazzle machine that's supposed to, make sure that, the river, is, supposed to chop up the ice and et cetera. So what's up? You give $1 million to a consulting firm. It would be interesting to hear more. Then is a resolution 26-137. Why reject that? What? I don't hear any one of yous even have any questions or interest as to how this money is coming in and out of our water utility, considering the challenges that we have, and we want to make sure our water utility continues to be state-of-the-art, self-liquidating, right? And then we have trucks. There's an issue in the city, and word on the street is that our solid waste department is having some issues with getting, equipment repaired. So it's about 5 or 6 trucks that are in need of repair. But we're buying trucks over there at the water utility. Solid waste, people who work in the public works department, the city of Trenton residents deserve high quality service from our solid waste department. And I hope council is investing in that department so that our trash removal is efficient, quick, expeditiously. Get those trucks fixed. I don't know what's going on, but it's unacceptable. And if our sanitation workers aren't supported, then, that's very problematic and concerning. And I would expect every council member get on top of that right away. Get down to that garage and see what's going on. Or get Hector Weah. Hector Weah is the public, I just can't. Wow. About the finance director, I don't know how funds are being certified. There are multiple violations, and it seems like, council president is not even addressing these issues with the administration. You're not. The agenda that was published to the public was amended, and you come here and the public is expecting to see certain things, and you allow the administration to take stuff off willy-nilly in a non-transparent way. And the city clerk, I don't know where Mr. Garcia is, but yeah, you can squint your eyes all you want up there, but these are serious issues, okay? It's great that you're showing up now instead of being on the screen. I guess that big promotion allows you to do that, okay? Before you didn't show up, you were on the screen. But now you got the president, you up here. Girl, okay, don't be making faces at me. I'm not the one, okay? So I don't know how 036, well, let her come up, all right? I don't know how, if that's what she want to do. So 036, I have a right to hold my elected officials accountable. I was held accountable, right, Ms. Frisbee? Okay, yeah, okay. But you're friends with the developer, right? You should recuse yourself. So I just want the process to be followed when stuff is removed from the docket, so the public should have a right to do that. You should follow the law. But we understand that you don't understand your jobs.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Anytime. Have a nice evening.
Moving on, Council President, we have Pat Williams.
Good evening, City Council. My name is Patricia Williams. I humbly come before you regarding my property at 106 North Hermitage Avenue. In December of 25, Carroll Company got 22 hazardous waste contracts given to him from the city to tear down, to demolition. And the property that he tore down next to my house was 102. It was a property that my husband and I tried to purchase before he passed away. He worked for the city of Trenton for 28 years. He drove the sweeper, Maurice Davis. But they couldn't sell it because it was full of asbestos, fungus, and mold was all in there, so they couldn't sell it to anybody. We wanted to rehabilitate it so the kids in the community could have somewhere to come when they got out of school and read books and do something. So the week before Christmas, Carol Company came and started blocking off the streets. So I heard all the commotion, so I came outside to see what was going on. And they had the big cats that they tear things down with. And they started tearing down the building next to me. And I asked them what were they doing, and they said that they started to demolish the building. I said, you can't demolish that building like that. It has fungus and asbestos in it. So the man looked at me real funny, and he started tearing it down anyway. And when they started tearing it down, this big balloon, like a big balloon of black stuff and smoke, all of this stuff came out of the building. So I ran in the house and got the phone. I called the City of Trenton Health Department. I called my department, which was Environmental Protection. I called OSHA. I called all of them because it wasn't supposed to be torn down that way. There was no protection, no sheets, no nothing put up to protect me from what was going on here. And that's the way it's supposed to be done. So they was shut down until after the New Year. After the New Year, they came back with the snowman suits, is what I called them, with the headgear, the water hoses and everything else. By that time, half the building was gone. Community was already consumed with the plume that was already there. They tore up all my, their cat tore up all my ceramics and stuff in my yard. They tore my dirt up with the cats because half of the building was in my yard. I wasn't a part of the contract. My yard wasn't a part of that contract. And I had to call city police out there because they just opened up the gate and start going into my yard. The city police told them they're not allowed on my property because my property's not a part of that contract. And they just left. They left my yard, my flower bushes, my herbs and things that I grow that I eat. A peach tree that I grew. I was in a foster home all my life, and my grandmother grew peaches. And I saved the peach tree, peach seeds. And when I purchased that house in 22, those seeds that I got from my grandmother, my natural grandmother, I planted. That tree doesn't bloom anymore. It's got black stuff growing on it. The grapevine, which normally starts, it's just now starting to get flowers. They left my property like this. I came down to city council on the first floor. Citizen Concerns has a copy of it. I sent a copy of the book to Miss Frisbee. All I'm asking them is to make me whole. I'm 75 now. I don't know what damage they done to me. I don't know how much time I got left because I already have severe asthma. But they took from me and they just walked away. And nobody's done anything. And I've complained and complained. And all I'm asking for is somebody to help me. In the book that I sent in with all the pictures of the plume, the pictures of the man that came back with this, what do you call, hazmat suits and stuff, spraying with hoses and stuff. If somebody contract you to do hazardous stuff, you know in the beginning what you're dealing with. So if all these sites, which is 23, were hazardous sites, I wasn't there, but I know what you did to me. I know what they did to me. If they did it to me, they did it on all of them.
I'm sorry, miss. That is your time.
God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you. Council President, moving on. We have Rashonda Nance.
Sir, you're out of order. Please, you're out of order. Thank you. Sir, you're out of order.
Sir, I already informed you that the council is not obligated to respond during public comment. That's the procedure.
Thank you. She's going to speak to you, ma'am. Thank you. Mr. Garcia, please proceed.
Certainly. Go ahead, Mr. Osorio.
Once again, a Rashonda Nance. And She is gone. That is all the people we have for public comment. Council President.
Thank you so much.
Madam President, you can start with anybody you'd like for civic comment.
Yes, sir. Councilwoman Edwards.
Thank you. I was going to start my comments off with addressing the recent constituent, but I see that interim director Yolanda Vasquez is taking care of it right now. So I will move on. I have some concerns about how we're handling development in the city, particularly around the earlier conversation, in which I thank my colleagues for their in-depth questions. Eminent domain is something that can be very predatory if not handled carefully. It is something that typically a municipality should use when a property is in a state of dilapidation, deterioration, and the owner of it is unresponsive or unresponsible. I have a hard time understanding why a city would declare eminent domain on a functioning property of someone that is a taxpayer, no matter whether they're paying full taxes or the taxes that we think they should be paying. But functioning billboards privately owned, I don't think that that's something that the city should be involved in. I believe these two private owners should be able to work it out amongst themselves. And if they cannot do that, then the plans unfortunately need to change. I do realize that there is a contract that a previous council approved in 2007 or 8. According to these documents, 2007 was when a portion of the train station redevelopment area went into effect. June 12, 2007, adopted by the city of Trenton. So we're talking about something that was about 18 or 19 years ago, probably longer than that in conversation until this ordinance was passed or this agreement was made by the council. This council was unaware of all of the details of this agreement. This is the very first time that we had an in-depth conversation. And I believe that we are due an in-depth conversation with this administration as to every last single detail of this contract. When we're talking about eminent domain, that is not something that we handle lightly at all. So again, I want to know why the city would have interest in declaring eminent domain on 2 functioning billboards, whether people live there or not. These are something that someone invested their money in and have taken care of all these years. And whether we agree that billboards are still relevant in today's time in 2026, I don't know if I have enough information to declare that billboards are irrelevant in today's time, because I did not get a good explanation as to why we would do this. I kept hearing the developer say they are just billboards. They're not just billboards, they're someone's investments. And I think that should be considered and with the utmost respect, because if the shoe was on the other foot, if the tables were in the reverse, if this developer was the owner of those billboards, I'm sure he would probably feel the same. So I would appreciate there be further conversations had. Whether we do that in executive session, I'm not sure. Maybe Director Bridges can advise us down the line, or Mr. Kaloji, as to whether both of these owners could come to the table in a conversation with council, because I would prefer them to have an agreement before this is brought back to us to extend any contracts that happened 20 years ago. So those are my thoughts on the situation. I'm hoping that we get the information that we need, but right now I'm just not seeing justification. So thank you. And I hope everyone had a great Easter weekend, Resurrection Day with your family, with however you celebrate. Have a good night.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilwoman Feliciano.
Thanks. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you say it. Say my name, say my name.
Miss
Good
Feliciano.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for hanging in there with us tonight. Thank you for to everyone that came up and spoke and said something and let us in to what it is that you all are experiencing. Certainly, we don't take the concerns of the public lightly, and there is a process as to how we do things. Not that anyone is ignoring anyone when they're talking, and not that anyone's minimizing anything. It's just the process of how we work. We listen when it comes to public comment, and then if people stick around during our civic comment, then we can address whatever it is that's going to be said to the person. So it's never meant to be disrespectful. I know, but you can't. So you and I.
Sir, this is not your time.
You and I can't talk. You and I can't talk back and forth. And so, out of respect and decorum for the room, I'm just granting you an answer, but we can't go back and forth. The council president yields time for people to speak. Thank you. So when it comes to people that come forward and they want to talk, it's a difference between those that don't know and then those that do know, because not you, because they served in an official capacity. So to that being said, when Ms. Vaughn came forward and when she spoke about why we rejected the proposal for the resolution 26-137, having been a former council person herself, she would have known that we would have gotten a memorandum or something from the administration that would clearly explain to us why these things are happening. So no one just acts or moves haphazardly on anything. As a matter of fact, the reasons for rejecting Priority Group Services LLC are for substantially exceeding the cost estimate for the goods and services pursuant to NJSA 40A:11-13.2A. That is the reason why it was rejected. So we're not just moving just to move. We are moving in due form. And again, while I appreciate anyone that would want to come forward and say something, to drop misinformation and then walk out before we can even respond to it is just as it's just wrong, it's improper, it's grandstanding, it's trying to promote a false narrative. And just because anyone, regardless of where they sit, would choose now to run again for office and then use this platform to once again misguide people is a problem. It is a big problem. And I encourage everyone that is listening or watching, whatever it is, that you watch and listen very carefully to the people that are coming forward before you. Being on city council and serving within an elected capacity is not a game. We're not joking when we're here. I'm not joking. We're not joking when we're here deliberating and trying to do the work for the people in the city. And I think that a big problem that we've been having is that some people see it as just an opportunity to come forward and talk a lot of mess. But when you were sitting in position, some people, and could have made good changes and did good work, they chose to stop and not do those things. And people need to listen and remember this as they go forward. To deny bacteria cleaning chemicals to put in the water to help the people, that is not responsible government. To sit up there and not allow the fire department to have the uniforms that they need because our firemen go into the burning fire to help save people, that is not responsible government. And then to come and speak a whole bunch of garbage and then to get out and be cussing and acting any kind of way just because you feel like it because you're duly elected is not responsible government. And so with that, I say to the people of Trenton, you choose wisely in this election. You choose wisely before you come up here and talk about who you want to get behind and who's best for us. If they were best for us, we wouldn't be close to where we are with losing different assets that we have. Our backs up against the wall about the water. People coming to sue us for crazy mess. We would be 10 steps forward and not 10 steps behind. But this council has been doing the work to help right the wrongs of the councils that we had before us. And we're going to continue to do just that. So I just say, be wise, Trenton. Be smart about it. Do your research on everybody running. And just because it may sound good in the moment, just make sure that it is good overall. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilwoman Frisbee.
And thank you, Councilwoman Feliciano. You said a whole lot about what I was thinking and probably wanted to get to a little bit of. But anyway, I want to thank everybody who came out this evening, whether we agree with what you had to say or disagree with you. I do want to make sure that we do get back to Ms. Pat Williams. She did give me a package. I did receive it today, and I will go through it. I will have a conversation with Interim Director Vasquez also. I want to thank everybody who came out on this evening and expressed what was going on with them. I want to acknowledge, I'm wearing a blue butterfly today. And I'm wearing a blue butterfly today because April is a month of child abuse awareness. And I was given this by one of my favorite people in the world, which is actually my CEO who I work for, Mrs. Catherine Nunley. And the card that comes with it, it says, "Every child matters." It's everyone's job to ensure that children are safe. We wear this pin with pride and to show that we believe that every child matters and deserves to be free from abuse. I ask that you would have conversations. Do not label children as bad children, as this, that, and the other child. If a child is acting up, that means that there's probably something going on and they need your attention. They need your help. So I would ask that you would give it. This Thursday, April 9th at the West Ward Community Police Station will be my West Ward Community Conversation. We are looking forward to having a really great conversation with those who we have slated to give us their presentations. I asked you that you come out and join us at 5:30 p.m. And you'll get the information. Then it's on my it's on my Facebook page, and the flyers have been distributed as well. I did want to address it, and I'm glad that Councilman Feliciano did say it. We do our work. We do the research. We don't just get up here, get these pieces of paper and this stack of paper. We didn't just get these today. We get these in advance, and we have to go through them page by page, every single one. And this is a small docket. So we go through each and every single one of these. We do our research, we do our homework, we ask questions, and we get answers, and then we come up here, and then we talk to you from an educated position. Back to the individual who was just here, who used to sit in this seat. If she knew better, she'd do, well, she does know better, she's just not doing better. But if she were doing her best, and she talks about how we know that we ought to be doing our research, and so she would know that we did our homework. And if she was doing hers, then she would still be in this seat. But the fact that she is not in this seat, that tells me, and should be telling you the same thing. I encourage everyone in Trenton, do your homework. Google search someone's name. Don't just because they knock on your door and they say, here's a flyer. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to be. Do not jump on that bandwagon. Know who you are putting into office. Know, remember, please go back and just 3 years ago. Go back 3 years ago and remember what this council looked like. We have brought order. We have brought respect. We have brought dignity. We have brought the ordinances up to date. How about that one? Resolutions up to date. And that's not to toot a horn. That is just facts. Do your homework on it. Research your name. Do not just go let someone come and blow smoke and you buy it. Do your homework. And the last thing I have to say is I want to read a portion of our city's mission statement. There we go. Our mission statement, a portion of it is recognizing that the people of Trenton have made us guardians of their public trust. We are committed to govern with integrity and fiscal responsibility. We seek excellence in the city's operations and to serve all the city's people with respect and compassion. When people come before you, they ought to be speaking to you with respect. They should not be yelling at you at the top of their lungs. There's a microphone. Respect. So if you give respect, generally it's given right back. Thank you, everyone, and get home safely.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes, I'm going to be very brief because it's kind of late. And cool, just shout out to my two colleagues who dropped the mic. You said everything that needed to be said, so I don't even need to go there. But thank you to everyone for being present. I do want to start off by sending prayers to the family of Mr. Gill. who was very instrumental in Wilbur section, a place that I used to hang out in the park that I would hang out with when I was growing up and stuff. So I just want to say prayers out to that family. He was a gem in our city and he will be missed. To Miss Williams, I'm glad I saw Director Vasquez, and I know Councilwoman went out and spoke to her too. So as stated before, us council members, we are not going back and forth at the moment. However, we will find a solution and try to work with each person that comes before us to share the concerns that they have or the challenges that they are facing. We don't know these things unless you come before us and let us know. So we just want to say thank you to those who spoke out. And to Ms. Williams, hopefully we can get a solution for her. Really quickly, like I said, I don't want to be long. However, I do want to acknowledge some of the things that are being done here in the city. Someone came up to the microphone and again spoke and didn't give us right information. We do have, it's under the CDBG is urgent repairs, and there's also RCA funds that are for seniors for emergency and urgent repairs. And I know someone stated earlier that we are not investing or we don't have monies for our seniors to help fix up their homes, and we actually do. So please do your research on that. If needed, you can come to City Hall, look online, find the information out. And also just to the investments that are being made here in the city of Trenton. We have a lot of negatives that are being said in front of us. However, we found the funding to invest into the South Ward Senior Center, the Reading Senior Building. There's plenty of things that are going on here and a lot of investment that is going back into the city. And I hate that it's always a negative tone when we are actually investing in trying to bring up the city of Trenton. Also, I just want to shout out the city of Trenton for the Easter egg hunt this weekend. It was very nice. It was cute. The kids had a great time out there, and also for the autism event. It is Autism Awareness Month. As an educator who teaches autistic children, it is always nice to recognize that population. So with that, I just want to say good night. And one announcement, I know April 10th, which is this Friday, Trenton Tonight is from 5 to 7 downtown Trenton, where all the businesses and entertainment will be provided. So please come on downtown and enjoy. It's going to be a nice day on Friday. So thank you all. Have a good night.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Council Vice President Williams.
Thank you, Council President. I have a bit to say. I'll try to be efficient. So on Wednesday, April 15th, 5:30, we are going to have our Northward Citizens Police Advisory Council meeting at Galilee Baptist Church. 440 MLK. Our special guest will be Jay Watson, who's Senior Fellow for the Conservation Foundation. And he'll be there to discuss all the many trees that hopefully you've seen in the city of Trenton. To Councilwoman's point, a very positive development in our city and how we are trying to reduce heat islands and air pollution in our city so people do not have respiratory issues. I want to thank Councilwoman Feliciano for her questions regarding Engine 6. This has been an issue for several years. Both she and I have advocated for getting this firehouse fixed ASAP because the neighborhood wants it. The people in East Trenton, Polish section, they want it. And if there's any way to have this irresponsible landlord per se make amends, that should be definitely happening. And I just want to make sure that people know this is important. This should not be sitting by the side. We have to do what we got to do, and it should be a high priority because the lives that are saved may be your own, but the lives that could be saved are very important just for any Trentonian. Additionally, I know we can't talk about litigation that's going on, but I do want to share it. I know others have concerns regarding an internal affairs investigation that claims have been made that a brother-in-law of a police officer was involved in the investigation. I would like to find out, perhaps an executive session at some point, whether that claim is true or untrue, because if so, we should know. I'll leave it at that. I also want to make sure that talk about this is unfortunately becoming a frequent occurrence, personal attacks that I hear, that I see. My council colleagues, I could not be as eloquent as some of them, and certainly I will not try to keep up with Councilwoman Feliciano and her amazing points because they were all true. This is not a place for such things to occur. between colleagues like they do in the British Parliament, as you see on crazy television shows or TMZ. This is a place for decorum. This is a place, may I say, for class, for intellectual thought and discussion, particularly when we agree or disagree on policy points. And advancing one's arguments regarding policy points while making personal attacks has no place in any body and should not have a place in our community and this government and this country. The bridge has gone too far with that. And I just want to just finally add, for the record, this council is doing pretty darn well. We've done a lot of great work over 3 years. We've advanced this city. How do we not advance? When we came into office, this, unfortunately, some members of the previous council, and I realize this will make me a target, but what else is new? Sacrificed 100 jobs for a company called Princetail that would have been high-tech jobs that did not require a college degree. And yes, there are many Trentonians that have college degrees, but this would have been tech jobs, moving into a new economy that would have helped many Trentonian households. We are trying to lift our city out of poverty. That would have been a great way to do it. Things like not approving bonds that the state of New Jersey requires for water and sewer, which was done in the year before we came in. These are things that we had to pay a price, and we've rectified. We've worked with administration. We asked a lot of questions. I'm sure we're PIAs when we asked a lot of questions. But there are things like unpaid demolition bills that this council had to take care of. So when you hear things like this, yes, as I said earlier, do the work. Go to Google, go to DuckDuckGo, try to read things, try to look into the decisions we've made. Watch past videos of city council meetings and hear how we've spoken about host issues. The number one issue probably, if there's two actually, this council has spoken out upon, it's about waterworks, and it's about improving the stock and availability of housing for people in the city. And no one here deserves to do that, to be a target. No one deserves to be abused. And I know everyone here, we thank you. We see a lot of familiar faces that come to many meetings. We appreciate that. Please try to bring your neighbors, your friends with you, because to me, they need to see the normalcy and the magic that is happening at these council meetings. We are raising Trenton. We are going to be raising Trenton every moment that we're here. Please help us by your attendance.
Thank you, Councilwoman, Council Vice President. Okay, I've been sitting here this evening going back and forth about what I wanted to say at this point. I have never been more proud to sit up here amongst my colleagues tonight. You all spoke so eloquently, and I do appreciate you all. Yeah, you guys can have your opinions. People could get frustrated. They could be upset. The way that this council designed things from the onset of us all coming on was that the council president and vice president receives the docket ahead of everyone else. We get to review it, pour through it, ask questions to the administration. We then attend a meeting with the administration members, and those questions are answered, and we are able to rebut and do additional research. Those questions and answers are then given to all of our colleagues ahead of or once they receive their dockets for them to also review. And then whatever additional questions or answers that they need, they have the opportunity to do that here on the dais. That is how this works. There is nobody up here who's not asking questions and is not doing due diligence. So with that being said, I appreciate what my colleague said. I don't dance with the devil, right? But I want to say this, okay? For a woman to come here and tell another woman that she was not showing up. I gave birth to my son on February 23rd, 2025. Anybody can pull the records. I did not miss a meeting. I may have been virtual. I was nursing my son, but I was on those meetings. Anybody can go back during the entire pregnancy. I did not miss a meeting, and I kept my pregnancy very private, so nobody was able to celebrate it. So for a woman to come up and degrade another woman and tell her that she was not doing something that she was doing is disgusting, quite frankly. So I just want to leave it at that. My colleagues did say some wonderful things tonight. I want to say that I pretty much am aligned with everything that you all said. And with that, I want to wish you all a wonderful evening as we go into executive session now and do some more work. So thank you all for coming out tonight.
We have a motion to go into executive session.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Don't have a vote.
Thank you, Councilwoman Feliciano.
Yeah.
Councilwoman Frisbee. Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison. Oh, whoops.
left. He left.
Vice President Williams.
Yes.
Thank you. Council President Figueroa Kettner.
Yes, Mr. Garcia, we don't have a vote coming out of executive session, so can we adjourn now going into executive session or no? Or
No, I believe we need to take a motion to still come back out to public session, then take a motion to go, then take a motion to adjourn.
okay, so for the public,
Yes.
there is no vote coming out of executive session. Thank you.